Feeling more pressure but appears in the media. Better stop treating small or medium. I'm extra large, big ticket, premium. Bout that time you believe in me. Yeah, I'ma lay it down, grabbing that crown. Laying dollars on the ground, gonna double up now. 65 to 4 and 3, 2, one more time. Heavy punchline about to prove it. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. Clear your heads now, watch a peek. Let it go and prove my worth, let me earn it. Gonna pass this test and get me a permit. Watch how I do, sit down, observe it. Fires in my soul, uncontrollable first. Look at me then, look at me now. Correct your bones to rule cool, make you bow now. Class one to a point to see. Blow kiss goodbye while they scream and shriek. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. If you feel my vibes, then pop with me. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath.
Wow. Can
Wow.
you believe it? Back for another episode of the Great Social Links podcast. And today is a very special episode, not just because we've hit rank 11, so we've left the confines of the 10 rank social link. Not just because it's on a Wednesday instead of a Friday, but because we also have a very special guest today. You know him, you love him, the one and only JohneAwesome. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
Wow.
Hi.
How you doing, man?
I'm 2 feet tall.
That he
I'm in a
is.
shoe. I'm stuck in a shoe. Help.
Also, to be clear on the stream, okay, his thing won't light up, but it is what it is, okay? It's all Discord's fault, so you have them to blame for it.
And because I'm stuck in a shoe,
That's
I
why.
need help, please.
Yeah. So,
Sounds pretty good recording audio for a shoe, to be honest. That sounds pretty nice.
It's
Good
very
acoustics.
echoey. It's a large Timberland's boot.
based. So we got, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of Atlus stuff. Last time we came 2 weeks ago, I think Raidou had just come out after our last episode,
Yeah.
right?
think so,
Since
yeah,
then,
yeah.
we got a very special game in Persona 5, the Phantom X, release globally. And I don't know what we're going to talk about first. Incomp, what do you think?
I think we should go over Raidou, because that's the one, my soul yearns for a bit more than P5X, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay. I think we might even have more to say on P5X, given all the stuff that's been going down with Mr. Slammer. So yeah, maybe we should start with Raidou, kind of get that out of the way. I guess I'll just ask generally to. We'll start with Johnny because he's the guest here, and I want to know, how do you feel about? Have you played Raidou Remastered?
Yes.
Are you like how much have you played of it actually?
So I played the first 2 chapters and then chapter 3. Then I was like, oh crud, P5X is out, gotta cover that.
Okay.
And that's where I'm at. Fake SMT fan.
Did
so.
you? I think I saw you tweet. You played the original a little bit, right?
Yeah, I played the original. I played it recently just because I was like, all right, why not? You can beat it in like a day. And I played the PS2 version on my PS2 like back in the day. I think 2011.
Yeah, I was inclined to agree with some of your statements on the original game. I think you said the gameplay was like basically unplayable, the combat, right?
Borderline unplayable.
I mean,
there's a lot of situations where you just can't see what's hitting you.
Yeah, you're in good company on that. I'm inclined to pretty much agree with a lot of that. Like, the original game, not only did it lack depth, but I hate using the word clunky, but I feel like it's pretty apt to describe just like it's just not a very good feeling action RPG,
Beyond
even for PS2
clunky, it's
stuff.
just boring. Like I wouldn't say it's just clunky. It's just it's just really boring. I don't know. It's just like one of those things where like you just spam like the elemental bullets and just like wait for the fight to end. You like got the original, if I remember correctly, doesn't even have a roll, right?
Nope.
Nope.
It's just so boring. It's just like I don't know. It's like one of those games that benefited a lot, I think, from those changes it saw in the remaster. It's just more engaging.
Sure, and
right?
even from the second game, like even the second Raidou game had come and kind of iterated and added a lot to that formula, and then the remaster kind of takes a lot from the second game. So really just across the board, I think even the biggest Raidou fans can pretty much agree that like the first game was pretty weak in a lot of ways for that. So yeah, I don't know, Johnny, what do you think of the remaster so far?
Well, it's practically a different game, and there's no more random encounters when you're just moving around town. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's true.
Because even when you're level 50, you're like, oh well, I want to get a soda pop down by the, and you'll get attacked by a level 4 zombie.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird. Like, even when you're just making your way down to the shop, like, you're gonna be encountered by it makes you just not want to explore that town very much.
It's just annoying.
Which is a shame,
it's,
because
like,
I think
weird,
one of the
like-
best things the original game has was, like, its aesthetic and whatnot in its town. And yeah, what were you gonna say, Comp?
It's like weird to me too because in the remaster they made it so like you generally have more of an idea of where you should go. Like you have indicators on a map and all that. You're generally more guided by the game, and there's no random encounters, which is really nice. But in the original, you don't have that guidance, but you do have random encounters when you explore. So it's like just a more negative experience in like both respects. You know, you're discouraged from exploring because of the encounters, and you also have no idea where you're supposed. Oh, you can figure out obviously, but it's much harder to get where you're going in the original. It's just nice to not have that
Sure, yeah.
cumbersome crap in
Like-
remake or remasters.
I'm not huge on random encounters, but I can deal with that. Like, I think the biggest issue with random encounters in a game like that isn't even necessarily the actual fact that they're random encounters, but the fact that they're just not enjoyable to play. Like, if I
Yeah.
enjoyed the combat of the original Raidou, I'd be a lot more positive on the random encounters. But the fact that every time I'm getting an encounter, I'm like, oh god, now I have to do the combat again. It's
Hey, the music's good though. At least you got that.
Sure, a lot of things from the original Raidou, a lot of great ideas there. It's very different for Atlus. Like, there's a lot of great stuff there, but the execution of the combat, which is like 50% of that game, is pretty underwhelming.
Lackluster.
So
yeah,
yeah, I've gotten to I think I'm on chapter 7 of the remaster right now, and I'm pretty positive in almost every respect. I like the difficulty, I like the overhauled combat. There's a lot of depth there, with the parries, the roll, like everything they pretty much iterated on. I think I'm pretty positive on, and yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I expected to. I expected to like it more than the OG, obviously, but I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do. So, yeah, I mean,
It's nice to have those like enhancements, you know. And like I'm not that far in. I'm like chapter 2. I'm really early on because I've been so busy playing my favorite game, Persona 5: The Phantom X. But
based.
I really do enjoy the combat. That combat's great, and everything. Like not even just like the actual combat itself, but like the music. Obviously, that's a holdover from the previous game though. But it also is like it's a weird thing to praise, I know. But that sound design is so crisp. I don't know, like that sound of the swords, like everything is just like fine tuned to be super satisfying when you pull it off. Especially like those like perfect dodges and stuff. It's just great. Feels really good to pull off.
Yeah, even the way the demons are implemented in just feels more interesting. Like, there's a lot more emphasis on protecting them during certain fights than there was in the original. I don't know if the AI is actually smarter, but I just feel a little bit more involved with what my demons are doing in the remaster. I think just almost every element is pretty much improved in the remaster from that perspective. I think there's very little to actually criticize. Maybe it's not quite as in depth as maybe your average new 2025 action RPG, but I think it can at least stand beside them.
I mean, they couldn't do that, you know. Like, there's just no way. Like,
Yeah.
it's a story game first, character action game second. But there is some dispute. Is this really the definitive version of the game?
Oh, okay.
They took out the sepia. You can't even it doesn't look all washed out like
That's
it's from
true.
the 1940s.
I saw someone really complain about the inclusion of a mini map, which I thought was pretty
That's
funny.
pretty
There
bizarre.
are people, y'all. We're living in an era people are so attention starved. They will say lies on the internet.
No, they wouldn't do that.
It's true. It's truly sad. But yeah, the defense there is you already could not dodge or see things with the colors, the washed out colors of the original. If they had the same color palette in Raidou Remastered, guess what? You could not see anything. That is just the reality. Games are meant to be played.
Yeah.
So for anyone
Sure,
watching at home, don't fall for this crap. Don't give people that attention because they clearly have not played the game.
I'm glad you said games are meant to be played, because I think one of the big things plaguing some of these discussions when people are kind of attention seeking like that. A lot of people like kind of like cherry picking screenshots or like using certain screenshots of especially when comparing remakes and remakes in the original game. But like a big problem with this is like I can probably do this with any given game, one, if I'm picking specific screenshots, but also it sucks that the conversation is always held specifically on aesthetics and how they're in one area than the other, and we're never talking about the things that the remaster or remakes ever like try to address, which is things like the gameplay, things like the combat. I don't know which version of Persona 3 you prefer, whether that being Reload Portable
Reload.
or FE. Oh, okay, you're a Reload.
Yeah, okay.
We're also bigger fans of
Because
Reload.
it has the
Yeah.
PSP scripts in 3D, so
Oh, you were bigger on the portable
Wait, you're like
script.
that?
I mean it's just
Oh.
better. Like there's no defending.
What-
You can't
Really?
defend. But yeah,
I actually
I
saw a
thought
lot of
everybody
arguments
knew
to the
this.
contrary.
I don't know
saw a lot of
actually
arguments
that
to the
much
contrary
about
the portable script.
I don't know that much about the differences between the portable script besides the fact that some scenes are kind of explained a little bit more because obviously portable
Yeah.
didn't have the real-time cuts cutscenes that had the visual novel presentation. What's different in the
Yeah.
portable script?
I don't know if I remember, but I know it sounds a lot more natural.
Oh, okay.
That was my immediate.
Oh, it's like dialogue changes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they changed Jack O'Lantern to Jack whatever the frick his name is. It's not that
Pirate
crap.
Jack.
It's just very. It's not a very like in your face thing, but it's like okay, yes, this does flow a lot more naturally. It sounds better. But I thought everyone thought that. I guess not.
Well, I just don't know that
Living
much
under
about
a
the
rock.
differences. That could be true, and if that's true, I'd be inclined to agree with that. That does make sense. I just there are some changes that are made from portable that feel like they're a little weird to include in Reload. I think, for example, the first scene, I think literally at the beginning of the game with Yukari with the gun to her head or whatever. There's a line added in portable where she's like, "Yeah, I just need to pull the trigger" or something, which made sense in portable because you just have her portrait up, but in Reload and FES you have the animation of her with the gun to her head explaining that she needs to pull the trigger or whatever. It does feel a little bit redundant in that case, and Reload does keep that portable change, so things like that can feel a little bit weirder, but
I'm also not too informed like the intricate differences. The only one I knew is the one you just listed right now. I'm not too aware of anything else, but I like Reload mainly just because of I like the gameplay a lot. I like Persona 3 FES's original gameplay loop too. I just think that while there's positives and negatives to both, I do think Reload like squeezes out because I think it's just overall it's just more enjoyable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Tartarus is like one of those things where like I was pretty hooked on it in FES too, but that's just because I have something wrong with me. In Reload I liked it even more. So it's just one of those things where like it's how do you say the opposite of a death by 1,000 cuts? It's whatever the opposite of that is. It feels like Reload in terms of improvements. It's really I appreciate a lot of them.
yeah. I have like there are some things, and I think a big thing that people critique a lot with Reload is maybe some aesthetic downgrades, and I can be inclined to agree with maybe some of them. Things like the door maybe do look a little weird lighting and color-wise, though all things considered, I still think it's an okay recreation. But people feel like they never represent the other side. Like most of Reload looks really good. Like Tartarus looks really good.
Yeah.
The mall looks great, and it feels like those parts are never represented by people. Like it's just always singular screenshots of like, oh, this is the one part of the game that looks worse. Let's talk about this the entire time. And it's like, well, one, Reload, the biggest improvements probably don't even come from the visuals. They probably come from the combat, which is also, funnily enough, where the game looks best with its new AOA finishers, with its, animations.
Yeah.
A lot of things brought from the newer modern Persona games. So, and never talking about those, it feels so one-sided, right? So
Well, it's because it's easiest to wage those arguments on like a platform like say Twitter or any social media for that matter, when you can just use screenshots as a base of comparison. It's like, and like at a base level, I probably can agree with some of the visual like critiques of Reload too. Like the biggest one I think that I probably agree with is that awakening cutscene with Makoto. I think generally like in comparison to the FES version of that cutscene, I think it looks worse in Reload.
Yeah.
But again, that's kind of disregarding like everything that Reload brings to the table. It's very much singling it out.
I still really like that cutscene in Reload. I feel like people give that one a lot of shit. I still think it's pretty good in Reload, personally.
I think it looks fine on its own merits, but in comparison, I don't know. I really like that FES Awakening cutscene. It's better directed, I think. But I think that's true for most of the cutscenes in Reload versus FES. I think FES had really good cutscene direction.
Yeah. Either way, to bring this back to Raidou, I do agree. I think the visuals of Raidou do look better. I mean, maybe there is some sort of appeal to the kind of washed out look of the original, but one, I don't even know if that complements the game's aesthetic all that well. And two, this was certainly something done for limitation, and I do feel like limited in a lot of ways. Like, lighting effects are almost non-existent in the original because of this, where the new game obviously has these much better lighting effects, these better looking environments. It just works a lot better, even when just traversing areas, and like Johnny said, even for actually playing the game, it just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just, do you think they didn't try it? Like, seriously, like, we're talking about, a studio that's like a group of people, like, let's try this. Oh, it looked bad, and it, you can actually see the very tiny lightning particles that are about to hit Raidou.
And it's done by the original staff too, right? Like, I'm sure they can. Yeah, you're right. They absolutely like did it like with a conscious mind,
So that's what we're dealing with. A bunch of armchair experts that think they know the best and they're the smartest in the room.
That's just Twitter, to be
And
honest.
Atlus is perfect. They never do
True.
anything bad.
Never
ever.
ever. Let's not get to the P5X part of this podcast.
It didn't come out. That's not real.
I guess I was trying to segue
Atlas
a little too
infallible.
fast.
Yeah, never ever have they ever done anything wrong, ever, okay? P5X did not come out. We're definitely not. We're all gonna love P5X when we get to that part, okay? We're all gonna be big
so
fans.
positive on it.
Yeah.
That bird guy, whatever the fuck his name is, I've already
Lufo.
forgot it. Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Whatever his name is, he's great. Love that guy.
Cattle, I think, is his code name.
Oh,
Okay, show some
that's so
goddamn
stupid.
respect. Okay.
Soy. What about soy? Let's get started on that.
They
huh?
explain that.
They do, but I mean,
I actually
They
don't
do,
remember
but-
what's the explanation for the cattle thing.
I don't think they explain cattle. They explain
Oh.
soy though.
Oh, they explain soy. Oh, I haven't even gotten to that part of the game.
When I saw that bit, I think it was back on the Korean version of the game. I don't remember the machine translation explanation of it, but it was something about, I think, like he likes, like, he's a cook or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
He likes cooking with soy.
That's a big part of it.
Do they not realize that it might? Soy
No,
just
yeah,
doesn't give him that
He's
aura.
just like, that is like, a big part of, Japanese cooking. And he's like, hey, that's, the piece de resistance, right? And he tries to name himself Soyu, and it's like, it's a Japanese joke. It doesn't really translate, I guess. And
I feel like a lot of P5X's issues are mired by like a poor translation at certain points. I
don't know.
no
That's
specifics,
all right.
no.
I mean, I
I
get the
noticed, like-
general gist. It sounds kind of awkward, I guess, but
Yeah.
how
that's what I
many
was
games they're
gonna
putting out a year? Friggin', this is the
That's
one
true.
they can go back and change it. They won't, but
say. Yeah, it's true.
I'm P5X has been an experience so far. I did play, I think, the first two palaces on the Korean version, but I basically had skipped all the cutscenes because I wasn't too big on having a machine translate it for me. So I'm now playing through the story on the global version here. I'm about, I feel like, halfway through the first palace or whatever. I've met our guy, the Mr. Subway Slammer.
That guy.
Got a lot of feelings on Mr. Slammer over there. Got a lot of feelings on it. I don't. Johnny, how do you feel about the Subway Slammer?
dang, we got 18 minutes in. You couldn't hold off.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at his stupid fucking face on my Discord and my other monitor. He's everywhere. I'm thinking about him.
I dreamed about him last night. Honestly, I can't stop. It's
Jesus.
just in
Have
my
you dreamed
brain.
of this man? Look out. I mean, it's just, as a, a bit of Persona fan, definitely my second favorite intellectual property.
Damn. What's your favorite one?
Mario.
Oh, okay. What's your
Oh,
favorite? Hold
anyway.
on. What's your favorite Mario game? I need to know.
Paper Mario.
Oh my god, he's so based. Wait, which one?
First one.
Okay.
N64.
I I think I'm
But
slightly more TTY,
Thousand Door
but
is better.
I'm like, hey, those
Anyway.
two I hold very closely. Okay, both those
Same.
games I adore. Okay,
I
But,
haven't beaten either, but when it comes to Mario, I like one of them.
just-
Yeah, definitely.
Let's just talk about Mario instead. Dude.
sure. We just turned
Freaking
this into a Mario
Yeah,
podcast.
Donkey Kong fans.
I like
You guys
DK.
thinking?
I played
Okay.
64 and
yeah.
it was charming, but I don't know how good of a game I'd actually say it was.
Better than Banjo Kazooie. I'll say that much.
Ooh, I
That's
don't
crazy.
know.
Wholeheartedly.
I don't know.
Wholeheartedly.
I'm
Anywho,
not huge on Banjo, to be honest with you, despite all the hype behind it, but I'd probably still put it above 64, I would think.
Sorry. What were we talking about? We're talking
about
Persona.
Persona,
Talking
right?
about Raidou, we got to go back to Raidou.
Oh, true. We gotta go back to Raidou. You're right.
who-
Let's not spoil
Right,
the
right.
P5X feelings.
So
Okay.
chapter
love
10
P5X?
Chapter.
still sucks.
Damn, really?
Bummer. I thought they would like change it. They did not. It's very unfortunate.
I never
but,
beat
what
the
can you do?
original.
Oh.
I'm
So
also gonna
most
admit,
of
I never
my
beat the
thoughts
original.
based on the original are
Well,
from.
basically, there's a point. You're gonna get to it. You're gonna love it, and you're gonna think back to this.
Okay.
You are forced to grind. It's
Oh,
really
no.
dumb.
Even in the remaster?
No.
Apparently, I haven't gotten to it yet, but supposedly, yeah, it's like they didn't fix that.
Why?
I'm on chapter 7 of the remaster right now. It was funny to me. Chapter 6, I think, was literally exclusively dialogue. I don't think there was a single forced battle in chapter 6. It went by in like 20
Yeah, that
minutes. It was
sounds
really
about
funny
right.
to me. I was like,
Let me make sure it's 10.
Okay. Well,
It
when I
might
go-
not be. Let's find out. You guys.
I mean, the
carry on,
combat's
boys.
really fun, so I could probably live with grinding a bit, but
Sure, it's definitely, it feels probably better to grind in a game where you enjoy
Oh,
the
like chapter
combat, right?
11.
yeah.
Chapter 11, isn't that the second to last chapter?
Yes. I
Damn, they
think
hit
so.
you with the grinding right before the end? Okay. They know you're
I don't
committed
have
to
to
that
remember, but
Yeah, no one-shots.
you gotta collect like I don't know pieces of crap from some random enemies. It's annoying. Wait, isn't it? Hold on, I don't want to spoil anything. Oh, it's chapter 9. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, something that is nice about the remaster too, that I don't think we touched on is the, what are they called, side cases or whatever. I've been having fun going through those and doing those
Those are
little
fun.
you know, whether they're go fight this enemy over here or go find this certain thing. There is actually one critique I'll give of the remaster. I don't remember how prominent it is in the original, but I think the remaster, whenever you have to do any sort of investigating with a demon or whatever, it'll basically tell you which one you have to use effectively. Like it'll be like fly or
Yeah.
thing or whatever. I think the original actually made you pull out the right demon first, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, that feels a little weird in the remaster. That feels like a little bit too much of a QOL. Like it
No,
does
that's
kind of think what I'm
bullcrap.
thinking, yeah.
You're
So-
crazy. The amount of times you're like, oh, I don't have that one. Crud, what do I do? Oh, I guess I gotta go get it.
Well,
Yeah,
I
just
mean, you
let-
know,
just
but you
let
still have
it,
to
you
have it
know.
in your stock in the remaster to still do it, right?
Right. But yeah,
Right.
so you can have multiple demons, so like there's no chance you don't have the one you need. Which is
Yeah.
a good change, I think.
But yeah, there's a thing, but most of the QOL, I think I'm overwhelmingly positive on. Like, I think the remaster just plays a lot better in most areas. The game even feels a lot quicker, which is nice. It's a pretty well-paced game too, despite having this big story orientation. Like, I don't think I'm ever really like in story segments for too long. Like, I'm getting back to combat generally quickly. Like, I don't feel like my time's ever being super wasted in Raidou, which is nice. As much as I like the Persona games. Actually, most Persona games are paced pretty well. P3 has a few issues, but fuck it. I love my 100-hour games.
I also love my 100-hour game. I with Raidou, like this is like a non-critique, but they composed that brilliant remix of the battle theme only on the soundtrack, and you don't
Yeah.
get to hear it in the game, and that's really depressing.
Yeah,
it
I
sounds
thought it-
so good.
I thought it'd show up in the. Are you sure it's not in the game?
I don't.
Unless-
I haven't heard it
I
as
was
far as
lied
I've come
to.
through. Is it?
I think it's in the like the optional content. I could be wrong, but that's where I thought it was gonna be.
I
Oh,
don't
I guess that would make
remember. I would have.
Sense.
If they were going to put it somewhere, I would think they would have. I would think they would have put it in a DLC or something, knowing Atlus, right? Which I wouldn't even have minded because there's a lot of like cheat code DLC in Raidou for some reason, which is kind of stupid to me.
I know there's one.
Um,
I know there's one song that's definitely not in the game because it just wouldn't fit for a video game, I guess. But
The 8-bit arrangement of the battle theme.
nah, it's this other one. It just sounds like I don't know how to describe it other than noise. And obviously all music is noise, but it's
Harsh
like
noise.
something macabre night. I don't know if I know.
Oh.
Anyway.
Hold on. I think I remember
I
that
don't think it's in
one.
the game, and it could be in a side mission though. I don't know. I'm hoping it is though.
Oh, you're
It'd be a shame for it to
talking
go
about the
unutilized.
Detective Agency remix, right?
No.
Oh no. Okay.
Well, it might be. Yeah, I don't know.
That was
Sounds like
it
a
was
completely
called
different song.
Sweet and Macabre Night in
Yeah, yeah,
Sukudo
yeah, yeah. There
I
you go.
love that
That's
song.
it.
You
Yeah,
insulting
pretty
my
good.
okay, good.
Has like 700 views on YouTube Music. I'm like, what? I'm probably at 200 of them.
Yeah, no, it's a banger. I wish you could at least swap between them. Fuck it, Atlus makes everything DLC. These few songs couldn't have been like a $2 DLC.
I don't even know why they couldn't have made it like if even if they didn't want to do that. Why couldn't they have just like made it like an alternating battle theme or something,
I
right?
don't know.
Like how Persona games do it sometimes. Like when you
P5S had
ambush,
that
you get
via DLC, yeah.
or yeah,
I'm gonna,
that too. Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah.
I'm gonna stick up for Atlus here. Sometimes you get the end of the project, you're like, F it. No, we're not writing any more code. F it. We're done.
I agree,
Wrap
but
it up.
I just like half of the DLC for Raidou is like literally cheat codes or like early items and shit. I'm like, this is like the most boring bullshit DLC you could ever do. You couldn't squeeze in your little battle tracks. I feel like a modder could probably do that in 3 seconds. You guys couldn't do it, really?
If you need cheat codes for that game, see, just wrap it up.
Wait, Raidou's like pretty tough. I mean, I'm having some
Really?
trouble. I'm having some trouble. Really, I am.
Oh,
I mean,
dang.
and I'm
Maybe it gets
and, like,
harder. I don't know.
Screen's like playing on a harder difficulty than I am,
I'm on
and
Truth
I'm
Seeker,
having
the-
trouble on like
the
on
hardest
the normal
default one, yeah.
difficulty.
I played on the hardest. I was like, oh, this is pretty fun.
I
But
won't
maybe
lie.
one time you die.
Most fights I've been fine on, but there have been a few. I think the first boss, I legitimately was stuck for an hour. I don't know if I'm just brain
Dang.
dead. I don't know
The
why.
crud?
He just when they forced me to jump, okay, I was like, I don't. I've never jumped in a video game my entire life apparently because I could not.
I play
get that
RPGs.
shit down.
I
what's it
thought you
called?
said you played Super Mario. I thought you said you played Donkey Kong 64. Hold up, back it up.
Wait. I was a different man back then. I was a little boy. Okay.
Oh, I
Things
never
have
jumped in
changed.
no video game.
I
Things
played
changed. Okay.
DK64 like 3 years ago. Okay, I have no excuse. But I don't. There's something about the way it wanted me to. Maybe it's just because it was the first boss fight in the game, but something about that fucked me up pretty hard.
Fair enough.
But like, I feel like Truth Seeker is punishing enough with the damage you take and whatnot that I've been having like, I have to think during the battles and I have to kind of I have to strategize. You know, like there's a lot of shit going on, especially when there's multiple enemies on the board, and it's been pretty good. I like how parrying certain attacks too will cancel a boss's current attack. Like there's a lot of depth to it. I don't know. Raidou's been a lot of fun. I wouldn't call it the most difficult game in the world, but I think Truth Seeker's difficulty's been pretty good. I also don't play that many action RPGs though.
Yeah, I played like 3 hours. I really know how I like saying this.
I like hack and slashes too. That's the thing. I don't know why Raidou's giving me so much trouble trigger because I like DMC and like your other ones. It's probably more I've played, but I don't know. Raidou's giving me a lot of trouble. There's like so many fights. And I'm playing on normal by the way that I spent like at least half an hour doing. Maybe I'm just really bad at the game. I don't know, but I do like the difficulty though. Even if I'm getting kind of filtered by it, I do think it's fun.
It's nice to have a hard Atlus game for once, you know. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
they don't do that anymore.
That's one issue we've had recently with Atlus games. As much as I enjoy games like Reload and P5Rs, that's my fucking game right there. Okay. I do wish maybe the difficulty, especially on the hardest difficulty, I would expect a little bit more from them.
Metaphor gave me some trouble in the early game. I will admit, Metaphor was like kind of tough for me.
Metaphor, I think, is a game that you can, if you break it though, if you use some certain setups, you can make that game.
He won't shut about his Stone Cleaver.
I love Peerless Stone Cleaver. Okay, listen. The one Persona Master Synthesis, the fuck is it called? Masquerade Charge, plus you can inherit skills in that game too. So God, you can make some stupid setups with some passives too. But even Peerless Stone Cleaver, combine that with the one print skill and the faker skill, never let the enemy ever. I think I beat all the dragon side bosses. Like 20 levels under leveled, legitimately. Like I think I was literally like 20 levels below them. But just you never let them get a turn and you're good, you know.
But Peerless Stone Cleaver doesn't work on the Devourer of
It doesn't work on one. I
Stars.
think I'm trying to remember what I did. Is that the red one?
That is the purple and green one.
Is the one?
I'd have to go.
You can only hit with almighty damage.
I feel like I remember.
Oh,
you
that
Fury.
one!
like a
That one
different
gave
of
me
them
some
on
trouble
YouTube.
actually, but I forgot what my strategy was
Okay.
for that. I still beat it on the level. I'm trying to hold on. I can find my setup. It was here we go. I had
Being a little too
Prince,
catty.
Trickster, Summoner, and Persona Master, and I think I used Summon Lizard Man apparently. I remember writing down my setups. I forgot what the fuck that does.
Summons Lizard Man, dude.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty
Well,
much in the
yeah,
name.
but like,
straightforward
what
skill.
type of skill? What type of skill is Lizard Man? Okay, apparently it's extreme physical electric damage.
Like all lizard men. Come on, man.
Oh,
That's
of
like
course,
basic
naturally,
stuff right
yeah.
there.
I mean, what would a lizard man do except physical electric damage? You're right. And then I combine that with Masquerade Charge, Faker's Roguery to never let the dragon go, Hero's Cry, some Royal Sword for that almighty damage. It worked out. It worked out. So yeah, there was that. So you can kind of break the game field, but I think Metaphor was like decently balanced. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Vengeance. That was
Vengeance.
tough. Vengeance gave me trouble. I thought that game was like kind of tough.
Yeah. Like a decently difficult game. You played Vengeance, Johnny?
Yeah.
What did you think of the
lot.
difficulty? Was that an easy game for you too? Is Johnny just the god gamer?
I don't know. I was kind of hamming it up a little bit. I was like purposely like, we call in the League of Legends world limit testing, right? I'm like,
Okay.
I wonder how far I can go with these demons, and it was a pretty tough time, but you know, it was a good step in the right direction. Playing that game blind, also without looking anything up, awesome. But the new traits and stuff. I think that's a good if they want to keep SMT to be like the hardcore, I think that's fine, and players will gravitate it towards it for that reason.
Yeah.
I wonder, did you like Base 5?
Yes.
You did. Okay.
Played the crap out of it. I worshipped it. I was like, this is the goatest game ever.
I started that game and stopped like 5 separate occasions. I just didn't get through it. I don't know. It wasn't even I was particularly struggling with it. I just never beat it. I probably should have, but
Yeah.
after a certain point, it was like, well, Vengeance is around the corner. I may as well just play that on PC. You know.
No, I was a super early adopter. I think I don't know. It's been talked about to death, but I guess you're having an Atlus podcast, so it hasn't. But the crux of the situation, at least in my eyes, is the fact that it is a narrative based around a character not being there, right? And traditionally, I think players can't really resonate with that, or like they like character focused stories more. It's just what we're more accustomed to.
That's like
And when
Persona
it's not,
successful, you know.
yeah, and it's when it's not like that, it's like, what if this guy wasn't in the story? It's like, well, I didn't even know he was gone, right? It's a little trickier. So Vengeance, even as contrarian as I am, when I was, everyone's saying, oh, Vengeance is a million times better than base SMT5. I'm like, no, I can't even. It is like there's just no denying it. Yoko and Tao, their dynamic, pretty good.
Which
That car talk.
which
That car
alignment?
talk, man.
Which alignment are you are you closer to in SMT? You think?
Mm,
I'm a law guy. I feel.
I'm also a law guy.
I guess I have a habit of causing chaos.
Okay.
Like I
Have a Joker over here.
I just some things have to be disrupted. But
Okay, I don't.
The Walter guy was pretty
that's
funny in
it.
SMT4, admittedly. Like I'm not a chaos guy, but I liked Walter so much when I played SMT4. I did go
Yeah.
chaos in that game.
I mean, realistically, they both effing suck. They're both too rigid and stupid. But if you had to pick, my cope is always that like chaos will eventually just lead to like neutral anyways, because whoever is the top dog will just be like, you know what, this sucks. Someone should make some rules. Then you have law, and then it's like, oh, there you go. So it's all cyclical in that regard. But
I don't know too much just because I don't watch that much YouTube. Okay, it's nothing personal, but I don't know too much about your Mega 10 takes in general. What are your like favorite Mega 10 games? I don't even know how many Mega 10 games you've played. I'm willing to bet it's more than me. Though.
I've played all the ones in English. I
Oh
think.
damn. Okay.
Oh shit.
Jesus,
Damn. Wow. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but
It's my full-time job. It's not a surprising thing.
I mean,
Let me look up
fair
my
enough. Yeah.
SMT, Atlas tier list. Just look at all the games, see if there's any I haven't played yet. Don't mind me, just doing some googling. Hey.
I'm curious what controversial. You called yourself a contrarian earlier. I'm curious what contrarian takes you've got that'll make the masses mad. Yeah, you said.
No, I tried to come at it with a contrarian lens for that installment, just because I held 5 into such a high regard, and I'm like, I can't even do it. Vengeance is so much better.
Yeah.
So let's see here. What do we got here?
Screen is contrarian all the time. He hates all the popular ones and likes all the niche ones.
True,
What was your favorite one again? Screen SMTF.
Persona 5 Royal. You probably haven't heard of it. It's a little underground.
I've not beaten If. That's the only one according to this little list.
I also haven't beaten If, but I've played a lot of it.
Huge fan.
I don't like it.
I don't either. It's like, well, there's no narrative to back this up. I don't really see the appeal.
Yeah, I hear the sloth dungeon is particularly bad in that one.
Well, you can cheese it to like get with it done faster, but it's just like, why? I tend to not. I let me say that I don't want to use guides when I play games, but sometimes it's like you kind of have to.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste like hours and hours and hours.
You can cheese the World of Sloth.
Yeah, there's like a quick way to do it. Someone made a video, pretty sure.
Oh my
You're
god, I
just
had
you're,
no
you're
idea.
destroying Incompetency's world. He suffered through that for
full
so long.
time going back and forth, and I actually was suffering. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Should have looked into it.
Have I genuinely played every Atlus game? Whatever. Let's just say yes.
What was your first Atlus
Okay.
game then?
That was Persona 3 FES
okay.
in
Alright.
2011.
There you go. Real time proof you're seeing right now that Persona 3 FES did in fact help Atlus quite a bit. They do call
Yeah,
it the
so,
game that
oh.
saved Atlus or something along those lines. So
There's like 5 games that saved
Yeah,
Atlus up,
bro.
turns out.
Bro.
It was Persona 1, then it was Persona 5, then it was Persona 3. Freaking, you know. Not
Alice just goes like
exactly in that
almost
order.
like broke like every 20 years. It's gonna
they're
happen
good
again
now,
soon.
hey.
Wait.
And especially now that they got that gotcha money. Okay, I would never hear no sob story at Atlus again. All right, that they're on the verge of bankruptcy. That game's gonna make them. It's gonna print them money.
Give it like 10 years. Some people's gonna be saying, Atlas was on the verge of bankruptcy right after 2024.
And the Subway
and
Slammer
P5X
came in and
swooped in
saved
and
them
saved them
so
right at the
gracefully.
brink of death.
All right, well, fine. We've danced around it long, and we gotta talk about P5X.
We have to.
I feel like we gotta. I mean, it's the new thing.
External force.
I
How
feel
you gonna
like
drag this out to? How you gonna drag this out to 2 hours if you? We have 2 topics. We got 30 more minutes.
But you want to talk about Raidou more?
No, we can go.
Okay.
I'm being contrarian. Sorry.
Well, actually, I did ask you what your favorite or just enjoy your interesting Megaten takes. I'm curious to hear since you've played so many of them now. Like, what are your favorite like Megaten games?
That's a good question. Usually, because my videos are just so comprehensive and they just go on for so effing long, I kind of develop this like hatred for all of them in
True.
a sense. Like,
Okay.
it's like if you're working on a movie set and it's like going horrible and it's like day in day out, you're not gonna go watch that movie that you made, right? Like,
Sure.
Yeah,
no,
should
you want to distance yourself from that. So in a sense, I kind of do hate every single Atlus game.
Base, okay.
But I also like them all. So there you go. But I still think right at this exact moment, because I'm a type of guy that doesn't go by story or just like it's some story mechanics. That's really everything and how like even the quality of the game is overall.
Sure.
Sure.
I
think
agree.
genuinely, Vengeance is the best SMT game.
Okay.
Like no contest.
Okay.
And
think so, you
obviously, you can nitpick that and be like, well, but like it's so far above everything else up to this point, that it's an easy sweep.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. What's your favorite Persona game?
Persona 5.
Okay, base. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a P3 guy. I'm a big P3 guy personally.
I'm a
but
big
Fair
P5R guy.
That's pretty good.
What did you play the P5 spin-offs? Oh, I assume you did.
Yeah.
What did you think of Strikers and Tactica? Because I'm a little mixed on both of them.
I don't like either that much.
Damn. Okay. That's
Hey,
kind of where
they-
I think they're okay, but
They
I like
have
Strikers.
they have obviously just glaring problems, and I don't know. It's just it's a spin-off. It's just like
Yeah.
So, but I would say my enjoyment versus my hatred of playing them is I don't know, just Strikers is kind of shallow in everything, in every regard, I guess. And it's ambitious because it has 3D environments, and they're pretty large, and there's a lot to do in them. But my moment-to-moment gameplay it just gets kind of repetitive. And if you know even anything about base Persona 5, it just becomes like putty in your hand. It's like, oh no, Thor, what am I gonna do? Oh, like there's 5 levels ago, I have a drain electric persona I can't lose. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like it's clearly just not that balanced. The story, I can't even remember one thing about it other than that the quote unquote final boss, you cannot hear their voice acting because of the music, and there's no way, at least on the PS4 version, to lower that music. So it's I don't know what their big effing deal was. I still don't know to this day.
I don't even remember if they had a voice. So that goes to show.
I have to say, back on like P5S, I think a lot of those issues are just things with like Warriors games in general, and I don't like Warriors games generally, but I have to say, I think P5S is like probably the best one I've played. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure. 'Cause the ones or P5S. Sorry, did I say X? I'm sorry. It's invading my head. I'm so sorry.
Fair enough.
Can't turn it off.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
P5S is like one of the better Warrior games, though, in general.
I'm inclined to agree with most of the criticisms Johnny brought up. Like, I think the way they involved the Persona system was pretty cute. Like, it was well done, putting it kind of in there, but it lacks some depth, even compared to, like, I would say Raidou's more interesting to me. I enjoyed it at first, but by the end I was like, please just get this over with. Like the repetitive and just either the lack of depth or the lack of new mechanics coming in or something. Like it just by the end I was just like, just kill me, get me out of here. I kind of feel similar to Tactica, and it's a shame because Tactica's strategy RPG stuff I did like. The story I thought was like serviceable enough. I think the spin-offs try to focus more on the new characters they bring in rather than the existing Phantom Thief cast. Zenkichi's cool. I don't hate Sophia, but I mean, like Johnny said, I don't even know if I could really name you too many story beats that were in the game. Like, it's not that memorable, which is a shame because I just remember almost everything about the base P5, even after.
Regis says fucking that one. That's
huge.
huge.
He does say
he
fuck.
swears it's a good game. You're not looking at it from every angle.
It's no, it says a swear word. It means it's Kino, okay?
If they're swearing, it's a good game. That's right.
True. That's how I judge games.
That's why P5 is good, because they swear in that one too.
A little bit, not that much. They say fuck like once or twice, I think.
Do they even? I don't think they say it P5.
I can remember one scene in particular. It's during the Kaneshiro arc where Makoto is getting into that. During the Kaneshiro arc, she's like investigating the thing, and one of Kaneshiro's goons goes, "Get the fuck in!" So yeah, there's that at least.
How do you remember that?
I remember a lot from that game. Kind of an encyclopedia on that game. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, speaking of P5 spin-offs.
Oh no!
We might as. I mean, is there anything else to talk about in Raidou? I don't have that much to talk about in the story, so I'm sorry I didn't talk about the story. Let's just get to.
We talk about movies. We could do that.
We talk about what movies you want to talk about. Yeah.
We could talk about. We could talk about movies we like. What movies you like?
Oh, I mean, you want like my top 5?
No, we can just talk about P5X. It's fine.
Oh, okay. I think I'll be excited.
I don't watch movies.
I don't watch that many either, to be honest.
I'm always working on videos. No time.
Okay.
What was me?
Let's get into. Let's just pull the band-aid off, okay?
Why is P5X the greatest Atlus game? Johnny, I believe you should start. And I believe you're a big fan of it. Why do you love it so much?
That's the sound of the man.
I really don't even think I have an opinion on it anymore. Like, I like the combat. And I like how ambitious it is, but I kind of preferred the game when I couldn't read the story, I guess. It is. There's just no kind way to say it. It is the lowest. It is a new low for Atlus, genuinely. Yeah. I think Soul Hackers 2 was like in a similar boat, but this was you know, and it's genuinely a tragedy. Like, what do they do about this? Like, it's just universally panned, right? And that is always going to be how, like, that's the most important part of these types of games. Your opening hours, they cannot go back and change it. There's no retconning this.
I do agree, yeah. Like when I think about like the Persona series, when it comes to their openings, like people like to say those games have a very slow start and long tutorials, which is admittedly true, but I think on a first playthrough, they're still gripping in regardless of that, you know, like P5, like it opens up with that brilliant, like scene at the casino, like you're running away, like you're wondering, how the heck did I get here, right? It's like super enthralling just from the get-go, and I just like...
P5X rips all that off, so it's okay. It's okay.
Well, yeah, but it's like not as impactful when it's like you have this Joker from Temu guy running about, and it's like, oh my god, he's like about to shoot Joker. That's insane. And then he wakes up, and then the game gets.
I think
really
something that's really
like...
understated too is some people have like tried to kind of conflate it and go, well, you know, just it's because it's P5 again. You know, that might be your issue. Not really. Like even within its introduction of like when P5 introduces its antagonist. I think it literally introduces Kamoshida, On, and Ryuji kind of all in the same scene. All of it's like much more compelling. Like you have On go into Kamoshida's car, and then she's kind of looks sad, and there's like, oh shit, is there something to this Kamoshida guy? What the fuck's going on here? Ryuji runs in, you know, screw that pervy teacher. There's immediately something of interest there, and then you go into the castle. Like there's already all these setups to make all these characters. Like there's something to them that you want to know about. P5X has what? Like literally, you talk to the Motoha girl in your classroom, and then the one girl, the black hair girl, stands up for you, and it's like, okay. And then I think the subway slammer comes out at one point.
To play devil's advocate, you do see someone jump off a building immediately, and no one react to it, which is very odd. You're like, what is going on here? This is not like real life.
It is. I don't really like how they're trying to do that theme though, because I think it makes a lot of excuses for some pretty stupid stuff later.
Right.
But like even like comparing that, like if that's like comparable to the Shiho stuff, like we had a whole dynamic built on in Shiho up until that point. So when Shiho jumps and On is literally right there watching it, that's like I feel fucking bad for
That's a call to
On in that
action.
shit. Yeah, and
You
then with the Shiho girl, she shows up, and then 3 seconds later she jumps off a thing, and it's like with the new Shiho girl. So I don't know. What
To
her
be
name is.
fair, you could argue it's like setting up something else, like setting up to show the apathy and only
It
really
is. That
but at
is the
same
intent of
time,
it. But oh
it's like
man,
I think the apathy system in general is just really like poorly executed because like then it like makes it so like a lot like with P5 when it criticizes like as Yaldabaoth would say the ignorant masses. It's significantly more interesting because at the end of the day it is their own fault too. But like in like P5X, it's like a matter of like desire being like taken en masse. It's like way less interesting when it's like they don't really have that agency. It's not their fault.
Well,
I mean, it partially is, but it's mainly like otherworldly stuff.
the way P5 kind of portrays society, I felt like was like pretty strong for a lot of reasons, but like when you're seeing the masses constantly shift between Akechi and the Phantom Thieves for basically bandwagoning whoever's more popular, and you overhear people in society like, oh shit, I want to support the Phantom Thieves because I hope they change my boss's heart, or oh my god, because it's so epic and cool and I can sell merchandise of them because they're an anonymous group. All of these things feel like they're really indicative of how people can jump onto movements in real life, just bandwagoning onto things without even really supporting the underlying causes of any of them. You would think people supporting the Phantom Thieves would be a good thing because they are a force for good, but you start to realize that might not actually be the case because of how shallow society can be at stuff. When you make society so apathetic to the point that the subway slammer will literally attempt to murder a girl by shoving her over the train tracks in a pretty hilarious scene, to be honest with you. It starts to feel like it's like, what is this even saying? Like this obviously isn't indicative of anything that we can look at society in our real world and be like, oh, this is saying something. Like, not really.
Like the closest thing is that like there are like subway slammers in real life, but they don't like attempt murder and get away with it
because
no one
one of the
cares.
things the game does is it talks about how he gets away from the police and stuff because people go to the police and they're like, oh, this guy's slamming people. Well, it's probably an accident or who cares, not that big of a deal. That is indicative of a real mindset. But the second you have him attempt to murder somebody with like a Bowser side B charged up fucking attack, okay, onto the train tracks, and then still nobody cares, and it's like, this is fucking stupid. Like, come on, like really? And are we really gonna say that our theme of society being apathetic is like that's the reason why nobody gives a like that? It just feels like at this point, like, what are we even saying? Like the messaging just feels so vapid to me.
I agree.
That's kind of where I stand on the story. You have any thoughts, Johnny? I saw you say that the Subway Slammer was, well, I mean, you said in this podcast too, it was a new low for Atlus. How do you feel?
I was on TikTok and I saw this effing meme. So he slammed into Gojo and he effing died, which that's never gonna happen.
Ooh.
So freaking already don't like this guy, so
I saw his edit, man, where he was like slamming like a ton of like really powerful characters, and that really made me like
that was
dude.
the TikTok, dude. That was it.
Same one? Oh my god, that's crazy.
And I'm like,
dude.
this is so dumb. So I downloaded the game, and he's not even that strong, bro. What the frick? And he gets this like aura moment. He gains like aura, and then he becomes evil, which
his shadow like runs amok, man.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, what?
Awesome.
What? So it's not even. It's not even him. Is it truly even him doing the slamming? With the devil on his shoulder,
If that's what it's supposed to be, that is, I do not like that idea nearly as much as the P5.
That is actually.
It's like weird. They have him. He has reasons like for his like quote unquote downfall, even though I think they're really shallow.
It's just stupid.
They're stupid. Yeah, like literally. I'll explain it to you. Okay, I'm gonna try and be as nice as I can about it. Okay, even if I really think they're dumb. In his baseball career, I'm telling you screen because he hasn't seen this stuff yet. You haven't, right?
I've seen the first. I've gotten far enough that I saw the first video where the 8-year-old completely mugs him at baseball, but I haven't seen. If there's more after that, I haven't seen those yet.
So there's 2 more. In the second one, he's like doing an interview and he's like drunk, obviously like in a like in a bit of a depressive state because like he's upset he's not able to perform because he's in his slump or whatever. He basically like harangues this girl like he called up at this I guess the what do they call it?
club.
Cabaret club,
Yeah.
I think. And like he's drunk and he's like basically yelling, like making a mess of himself pretty much. And he has these two like people interviewing right next to him, and like one of them literally says right to the other's face, "We should like leak this story, man, like so we could like make him look ashamed or something along those lines, right, for the ratings or whatever." And that story does end up leaking as they say it would, and he ends up like the boss he worked for at the baseball studio gives him like a like an ultimatum saying like, okay, either you can like quit in disgrace or we can make up a story about how you got injured and have you work like at the business side of things. And after that happens, obviously the guy pathetic reduced, he's like, okay, fine, I'll work at the business thing and I'll go with the story you guys made up. He cries, gets down on his knees, and I shit you not, says, "Those damn women, they ruined my life. I need to show my power over them when they're helpless and all alone. Then they'll understand who's really in
Oh,
charge."
that's why he slams women in particular.
And that's why he slams people on the subway. It's so like stupid.
I
Like,
always
just think
assumed,
it's
okay, because I assumed that if we were doing the same stories as P5, remember, and this is another thing that I felt like I didn't hit on, the Kamoshida stuff was effective. This is another reason I don't like the apathy stuff, is everybody, in P5X, everyone just is apathetic, and that's why they don't care about this attempted murder that happens in the subway. Like, okay, sure, whatever. In P5, it was a lot more effective because everybody around all the palace rulers had every incentive to cover it up, right? When Kamoshida was doing all the bad shit, it wasn't because people were, like, stupidly apathetic to literally anything. It was because the principal had a reason to cover it up to keep Kamoshida out of school. Obviously, there's a whole conspiracy thing for all the other ones. Like, there was always reasons. People were either oppressed, and that's why they didn't want to speak up, or there was incentive for them to not do so. So I feel like it didn't hit the societal themes on that perspective. Like, I assumed that what they were trying to do with him hitting women, in particular, I thought it was like, well, he has a position of power over women by just being, I guess, physically stronger than the average woman, and that's why he's slamming them, and that was going to kind of be the authority figure oppression thing, and I'm like, that feels way too general compared to Kamoshida, who had, like, a specific, he was a gym teacher, he had specific, authority over his students and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, okay, never mind, he has, like, some sort of hatred for women in particular, because it was women who...
By the way, one was a little girl, and the other one was the woman who he was like harassing pretty much at the cabaret.
You know, I'm gotta say too, by the way, some people are saying that it's because of the low stakes. I see P5X fans going, yeah, the stakes are kind of low, but I don't mind because it's not that the stakes are low. That's not necessarily the issue, okay? If this was all amazingly written, and it was actually really, I'd be the #1 Subway Slammer defender, okay? I'd be out there in the trenches, like, actually, the Subway Slammer's fucking awesome, okay? But it's the fact that all of these concepts are executed so poorly that is why we've been so vicious towards it. I'll say this, it's nothing if not memorable. Him slamming people, that, it's... I don't know. Yeah. You remember that, if not anything else, but, yeah.
I mean, the cutscenes look good. I mean, they're well animated.
They're well animated.
All right, yeah, for what they are, yeah.
My kind of question though is, how did he know that was this? Was this? Did he just go into cutscene mode? Because how did he recognize that Motoha was the same person from the club? Is that
actually
the clinic, the baseball clinic, right? Like,
that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. How did he recognize?
I mean, he couldn't have. That was 8 years ago. Like, maybe she's not the only person with blonde hair in Tokyo.
True.
I would like an answer to that. I've DM'd Atlus, and we'll see what happens.
That is pretty true. And when he sees her on the subway, he's specifically like, it feels like anyways, targeting her because of who she is. So he clearly has some sort of vendetta, but they don't really go into him like stalking her or anything, right? So.
Is that the shadow that he's overtaken, telling him to do it? Who knows?
If that's the cop out, it's so fucking stupid. Anyways, though, like it's all. Like, even the Steelman arguments you can give for it, they're still so weak. It's just so...
What's a Steelman?
Like, you know what a straw man is?
The opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Never heard that before.
Yeah, Screen just made that up right now. That's not a real thing.
What? It could be.
It is a real thing. He's lying, all right? He's trying to hurt me. I think.
what's
Lion
weird,
man argument.
They make him.
Dorothy.
They make him lust. They made him lust. What about him is lust? I don't understand. Like the only closest thing is that he harasses that one woman at the fucking the cabaret, but beyond that, nothing about his sins are necessarily lustful. I could see pride, I could see vanity, I could see anything.
I think there's one line that might imply it. I think there's something that says he gets pleasure out of it, and I guess you're maybe supposed to think it's sexual pleasure. But like, here's the thing: if that's the case, and I guess he is supposed to be lust, if you're telling me that's the case, right? And I've had other people say that too. Imagine, like, look at how much worse the imagery is in every way. The Kamoshida Palace, you were literally climbing on statues of, like, you know, asses and whatnot, and there were, like, topless mannequin girls and shit. Like, it didn't pull punches with the way it showed that. What about his palace?
Harrowing.
What about his palace has, like, lustful imagery? But I bet you, okay, at least this is what I'm assuming, because it's a Chinese-made game first, and they have a lot of censorship laws around stuff like this, even the demons in the Chinese versions of the games are censored and whatnot, they probably just, I don't know if they literally can't do it because of how the censorship is there and whatnot. I don't know that much about the way it works there, but...
There's also Kamoshida's Palace in P5X.
Oh, that's true, and... Yeah,
That's a very good point. I didn't think about that.
Is all that
Is it
stuff still
changed?
there?
I don't remember.
I have no memories of doing any of it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I did it in the Korean. I don't remember shit, but this was also like a year
Yeah,
ago.
so we'd have to cross-reference.
I'm gonna try searching it
Isn't
up
this
while we
live?
go.
Someone in chat, check for us. Don't
Yeah,
lie.
true. Linkers.
What hit you?
Any linkers? Any big P5X defenders in chat who are really mad right now who can prove us wrong?
I'll say one thing.
Genu-
Oh god.
Oh, sorry. I had my big, hissy fit about it on Twitter. I'm like, this is bad. And I kept hearing the same argument of, actually, this isn't bad because it's a Japanese thing. And it's like, it can be both.
Yeah.
Like, it's so frustrating.
No, I don't think anyone's
actually a
actually mad
commentary
about
on how unsafe it is to
go on a subway. And it's like, then it should be better written to highlight
exactly.
how big of an issue that is.
Like, no one's denying that it might
immature.
be based on something true, or thing. Like, I don't like the moving of the goalposts. Like, it's like, oh, it's because the stakes are low. Again, if the stakes were low, but it was well written, everyone here would be the #1 Subway Slammer defender, okay? But it's the fact that it's just not very well done.
Yeah. But, yeah.
I'm
It's
looking
like
through.
weird to me
God.
that like
20K active users. So, it's probably making good money. Who cares?
Well,
yeah, clearly.
that's
I
the
mean, it's just
problem.
like it's weird to me how the palace is designed too, and like the objectives inside the palace. Because like in Kamoshida's, right, like one of the most striking moments in that palace is like far as puzzles go, even if they're not difficult, right? You have this one like where you have to identify like the books, like the slave book, the king book, the was it the queen book? I think was the other one. That's a puzzle that like even if it's really basic and it's really in your face, it's still effective at establishing how Kamoshida thinks of these things in his cognition, how he views these things in reality. But there's nothing really interesting like that inside of Kiyuchi's palace. There's like all the tasks are related to getting baseballs to one place to another.
Yeah.
I guess that shows he's thinking about baseball.
Oh, yeah,
obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like if
they
every puzzle in Kamoshida's was like volleyball related, then it would be less interesting, you know?
they're not really playing by the they're not really equipped for that, I guess.
It's like, if they want to do their own thing, I'd be like, okay, but this just feels worse conceptually in every way. Like, it's just like,
No, yeah.
By
And,
the
like,
way,
also-
oh god.
Yeah. I was gonna say one thing about the safe rooms. They make no sense. And the safe rooms in P5R make sense because they're based on real places where the cognition is weak. Kiyuchi's cognition isn't based on a real location.
Oh, that's a good
It's not
point.
inside a real place, just mementos.
They do
so
have
you shouldn't
a-
have safe rooms that make no sense.
Well, actually, I'm trying to think. I remember because I've been reading all the dialogue. I've been streaming my entire playthrough of it, so I've been even reading that out loud. I'm pretty sure when they introduce the safe rooms, I think they say it's when their cognition is weak. I think I said the same thing. Fuck, I don't remember now because it was a really small
I think
detail.
I remember
but
when
I
they're
think
saying
that's-
that. Or not wonder.
I think the owl says, it's the cognition is weak here, but I'm like, what cognition? Yeah, I think I made the same thing. By the way, I found 2 scenes from the Kamoshida palace thing, and it looks like I know in the original game, this is where those ass statues would be in the original game, and they seem to be completely removed. I'll send them in the Discord, and I'll try to show them on screen. So it does seem like they literally just toned down the sexual imagery in Kamoshida's palace as well. Like the first one is the throne room, and it's supposed to have 2 big ones in the back. It's gone here, and then we have I think the second one is outside the throne room door, and I think there's supposed to be a statue there, and it looks like this has just been redesigned. So, yeah. Unless there's one that I'm not seeing here by kind of scrolling through this YouTube video of it, it doesn't seem like Doesn't seem like it's still here. Yeah.
That's just like, even if you're held by those like censorship like things, that's fine. You can still probably make an interesting story work without
You could,
like you
yeah.
don't need to do the lust angle at that point. You know, like why even make him lust at all if you can't exercise it to the best of
Oh,
your
people
ability?
are
Do
saying
something else.
they're uncensored in the Western release. That's the censored edition. Did they really add in new models for the? Because like I get the demons are uncensored in the Western ones, but that's just a case of redesign or literally just grabbing the original models from the original game,
Yeah,
right? Or just
and the
changing the
portraits
art a
are
little
fine.
bit.
Yeah.
Adding new models to the game would be different. If anyone has footage of the global edition, then send it, and maybe it's different there. But even so, that doesn't change the fact that in the global, which is the whole reason we got on this, in the global edition of the Kyoichi Palace, this imagery doesn't exist. So even if it's here in the Kamoshida one, it doesn't really matter to our point.
Like the closest thing is like you have like an area that kind of looks like a cabaret, or like a strip club or something like that. But even then, that's like not. It's very basic, just like some lights, some poles,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just so basic, like everything about it. It feels like if you told like if you told a person who dislikes Persona 5 to describe Persona 5 Palace to you, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The one thing I'll say is we have there was one of the writers who took over I think on the third arc forward in P5X kind of tweeted about how he didn't like the Kyoichi Palace stuff and he thought that from what I got from his tweets, it seemed like he was pretty upset that the original writer kind of came in and did all that. So that gives me faith that from the third arc onward, with this new writer in place, and I see maybe a new team behind him too, perhaps the game story can start getting better. The problem is, I'm pretty sure the global edition right now only has the first two arcs, and we probably are, if it's staying at the same update release as the Chinese version, I don't think we're gonna get the third arc for a few more months at least. So
We'll get it by the end of summer.
okay,
Is
that's not too
That's
bad.
what
probably
their
yeah.
their schedule seems to look like, and the fact that they're showing us the summer event in the release. I mean, I don't know, but it should be pretty soon. Is the gist of what I'm getting at relative to the Korean version.
If the story can be improved like that, and those tweets do give me some level of faith, I mean that's nice at least. I appreciate that.
Yeah. The only issue is that palace. You're talking about aesthetics and theming. Holy.
Oh no.
Oh,
I only played
you're
the
gonna be
first
sick.
two
Of,
in
you're
Korea.
gonna be sick of that place. Oh my goodness.
I gotta say too
I
that.
played.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I played the like I think the first three palaces in the Korean version. Obviously, I can't understand the text, but I'm just gonna say from like a visual perspective and gameplay wise, I don't think any of those puzzles are interesting.
No.
And like
No.
none of the palaces get like more like the first two are very derivative of both Kamoshida and Madarame. The third one seems pretty original.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just very personal on mine. Maybe it's an uncommon take, but I really don't think the third one looks visually interesting either, though. It just looks boring as hell. Like it just looks like
It
a
is.
basic, like really machinery heavy, like industrial looking place. It's just not very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
definitely.
the way the palaces work in P5X feels like very much follow the exclamation mark. Like this is like yellow painted Ubisoft design to a whole new level. Okay, there's a clip of me on Twitter that got some notoriety because I think I'm playing through the first palace and there's a part where they're like trying to quiz you on
Oh God, yeah.
yeah, like what part of Kyoichi's attire would be worn down or something. And I'm looking around and they give you exclamation marks to go look at all the different casings or whatever and figure out what it is. And I assume at the end they're going to ask you, okay, which one of these fits the description or whatever. But no, actually, you just walk to where the exclamation mark is and then exclamation point is, and then it gives you the answer, and then that's it, and then it's done. And I'm like, wow, there is literally zero thinking involved throughout this entire palace, huh?
Yeah, it's a mobile game.
Yeah, but
True.
They want people that can't even read it to be able to progress. Tee.
it's so annoying. It's just like it doesn't have to be designed like this, but this might be what maximizes their profits and money, I guess.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I
that
can
is-
think of. And it's just
that
so
is why.
annoying because like you could have made a good game, you know, and you chose every single thing in the game feels like it's just reinforcing how could we suck the player base dry. And it's just like, man, I love Persona 5 and just seeing this happen is just okay.
I really like it does go to show like it makes sense why I was able to get so far in the Korean version. I didn't have to look anything up. It's literally all exclamation points. Even if you don't understand anything the characters are saying, it is so easy to progress. It's insane. I guess enemies get like more tanky later on, but like again, that's just like you level them up with like the materials or whatever, and you summon on whatever's good, and you just keep on going. It feels like a job to play. Would you agree, both of you, that it feels like a job to play P5X?
100% in the palaces maybe, but you should just take your time.
Ooh,
That's what the game says. Hey,
did the meme.
you mentioned earlier you like the combat. I'm wondering like as why what you like about it. I didn't.
You
find
got
it really
you
good,
got to
but-
well, so here's the thing, right? A lot of Atlus content is very similar. You power charge, you Tarakaja, Rakunda, you win. And that is also true for this game. If you even exhale on any character in this game, they will die.
Yeah.
There's, enhanced shadows. Yeah, they're, you got to do their gimmicks, but they will die. But then you get to score attack. Persona has now become an esport, and I love that. Every character kit on the surface seems really easy. Do this move, okay, yeah. But then you get into the actual nitty and gritty of like how these people are getting these absurd scores, and you realize that the character kits for P5X, they're very, at least right now, they're pretty shallow. But to maximize your damage output is at least refreshing for me, right?
Mhm.
And I'm having a blast doing it. Because if I can nerd out for a bit, there's Joker, right? His whole thing is getting extra turns.
Mhm.
But a kind of like tech that I've discovered is, at least in like the, I think it's called Door of Nightmare mode.
Mhm.
If you use his highlight early, this is like push your glasses up, by the way. Use your highlight early on in the fight, which usually you don't want to do. You want to like, build up to these big fat turns and then like, explode for the best score. But because he has the extra turn mechanic, you can do a slightly lower damage highlight. Then he'll just get so many extra turns. It'll actually speed up the cooldown of his highlights. You can, in theory, squeeze in 3 highlights into one, roughly 6 turn encounter. And discovering that, I'm like, dang, okay, this game has some, has some thought behind it and stuff.
Sure,
So,
that's cool, yeah.
don't, it's okay. It's all right. It's not perfect, but the character kits are kind of cool. And they're only going to get better from here.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know, but I haven't interacted much with like a lot of the side content. I've done like some of the events mainly on the Korean version.
Mhm.
I do see some of that, especially like you said with the scores. I did find that mode to be probably more fun than the the main game. There's just like I think there's like a current event right now where you have to fight Yusuke. I thought that was
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fun. It's like a little
Akihiko
puzzle.
is like I admittedly also the character animation stuff. Like as much as like I don't think this is like praise of necessarily gameplay. It is nice when you have like character animations that have like a lot of bombastic flair in them.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah,
As
like
far as the
Akihiko
aesthetics
especially, I thought was
go,
awesome.
so Akihiko, Makoto, I mean, the characters all look good. A lot of people are saying like, oh, they look effed up or washed out, the models. But I'm like, I heavily disagree. I think, if we're talking about art, obviously some of the early characters look a little scuffed. Some of the NPCs don't really look like they're on model, but the art team is, they're doing their best with the IP that they have, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
no hate
Oh,
to
yeah.
them.
I think the animation quality, like and like mainly in like attack animation stuff, looks pretty alright. Like that looks pretty
Yeah.
generally good, I'd say.
I will say though, holy frick, fire the sound engineer. There's so many problems with the sound in that game.
Yeah,
man.
I was playing.
God.
I did the Awakening of Closer, and like half of the things happening there just had no sound effect. I thought my game was
Oh
bugged.
really?
I was like, what the
I
fuck
have
is going on?
I have a bigger problem. If you go in Shibuya, like in front of the station where Mementos is, just turn your volume up and walk into the birds. They will fly away at Mach speed, and sound effects will all layer at the same time, and it'll hurt your ears so bad. And I'm like, this is unacceptable. And that is in all versions. That is in China. That is in Korea. That's everywhere. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like,
That's great stuff. That is
Uh,
special.
yeah, and there's Dominion's scale is just still bugged. It just plays the same sound effect 4 times, and not to be an audio like snob or anything, but like if you do that, it doesn't exactly sound very good.
Yeah,
You
I
need to
think so.
offset it slightly.
Beyond sound, like it also has like there's a lack of polish in P5X, which I know
Yeah, of
it's like
course.
on a smaller budget, but like you can like tell like with a lot of things like I think a lot of people have noticed it's like that sounds like a nitpick, and it is, but when you start a battle, like it takes like sometimes like
Oh,
way
yeah.
longer to start than you think. Like you think your game is like
Oh,
frozen
really?
for a few moments. Yeah,
That
like I
might
have a
be
decent machine, but
I don't know. For some reason on the Korean version it's like that, but for global, I'm not having any problems. It's actually super smooth. I was like blown away. I'm like, what? How?
Yeah, I think I've been having the
So-
same
Performance
issue
has
on
probably been
global.
better. Wait, I think performance is better on global, but like the same like stutter between a battle. I think it's maybe shorter in global, but I still notice it. It's like pretty rough on Korean though. Yeah, I don't know why it's like that. But like little things like that, you know, and I think a lot of it has to do with the game being always online, which leads to these kind of pitfalls that you wouldn't have to deal with like in a typical like single player game.
Yeah, it could be.
But still, it's like little things like that kind of add up, and it's just like I don't know, it just leads to like a very budget experience, which it admittedly is, but it's not a nice thing to feel when you're playing, you know.
Yeah, I wanna say, they probably just don't have best engineers. It's so turn-based game. It's not like, it's all right. If you play the game muted, you hardly notice any of this crap.
True.
You probably will at some point once you
Yeah,
play it
Oh,
enough days.
absolutely.
maybe
I
some
play
of
the
it
game a
comes.
lot
Don't they
muted.
introduce like a new character literally every month, right? Isn't that when typically the updates happen?
Like a month and a
yeah.
half,
So
something like that.
there
Yeah.
might be maybe some constraints there with time. I'm not sure. But,
Yeah. keep the live
maybe some
service
of it's
going.
just being built on top of a mobile game. Like certain things, like it's annoying that I have to mash the shift button to sprint. Like or at least get like the most speed. But
Oh yeah.
That's commonplace. People would be mad if that wasn't the case.
really,
I mean, yeah,
Really?
because that's Genshin. I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh.
I never played it, but I always
Oh
see people
shit!
streaming
You're
that.
right. Genshin does have that.
It's like that's just it. That's what the people want. That's why it did so well, guys. Come on.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the combat, out of all the things between the story and the palace design, the combat's probably the one I have the least issues with, and perhaps from that perspective of kind of maximizing damage, it probably does have some value to it. I do feel like, though, it is very odd to be, like, doing, like, 1,000 damage, and it's like, oh, I did 1/4 of their health bar. Okay, like, that's like there's some things that just, it feels like the
It's
damage
scaled
numbers are
up
really
so
inflated.
high. Yeah, I think
Well,
that's like a dopamine thing. People like big number.
3 years, Yusuke is gonna be hitting for 300,000.
Yeah, I remember playing
Putting it
Makoto in the Korean version, Makoto Yuki from P3, and I feel like he would do like 20,000 damage per highlight. I'm like, gee, what the fuck is going on? And like the enemy's still standing there, like I got maybe a little chip off its health bar. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's fine.
Really? I mean, I just
Yeah.
feel like the numbers start to mean less when they're
Oh, of course,
so
but like
high.
Atlus is genuinely an outlier in that regard. Like, in Nocturne, hitting for like 200 damage is like, bruh, he's on death's door.
Yeah.
But other JRPGs, at least if we're talking like mobile, right? Like 200,000 is like,
Maybe.
I hit a low hit. At least the only other game I played, right? I guess I did play that other one. Anyway, it's another turn-based game. You're hitting for like 6 million.
Jesus.
Just feels different because it's an Atlus property.
That's probably true. But I don't even know if big numbers are necessarily a problem because like I like Xenoblade, like Xenoblade 2 especially. Like that game relies on like big numbers, especially for chain attacks, and it's
Mhm.
ultra satisfying there. I guess in P5X, it's just kind of like a bit more disappointed when it's like
A casual thing.
when you're constantly seeing these numbers.
yeah. The
And they're
comparison
not
I was
like
gonna
meaning a
make
whole lot.
was like in P5R when you set up and you do 10,000 damage. That's like a special thing, like that's something I had to set up for shit. But like when I'm doing 10,000 damage, just normally, I'm like a normal ass encounter. I'm like, okay, this is a bit, I mean, it takes some of the impact away from that when it's something that happens so often and so casually.
I like big numbers. I guess with P5, I'd probably like it more in P5X if like those big numbers still exist, even if the enemy health bars were big, but there's just a little more work to get there,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other gaming examples. I think like isn't like WoW and Final Fantasy you're also doing like 6 digits pretty regularly. I think it's just like a gaming thing. Maybe it's like easier to balance for.
Maybe I actually haven't beaten a
Maybe.
turn-based Final
Although I
Fantasy
still
game.
feel like in Final Fantasy you're kind of like as you're progressing, you're certainly doing more damage, but like this is like early game P5X, you're still doing like pretty fucking big damage numbers. Like it's not something you really feel like you've earned at that point. Maybe just because you gotcha it for the right 5-star, but it certainly doesn't feel as earned as it does in some of those other games. But
Big numbers are cool.
it is what it is. I don't also like. I feel like some of the depth of the original combat system is missing. Like one more being something that,
Oh yeah.
you kind of just pass off and it does just a general affinity attack rather than being able to kind of choose one of your skills and whatnot. I feel like you miss a lot of the strategy here, because of
And you're forcing
things like
AOAs as well. That
Let
too.
me
Like,
let,
like
let
yeah.
me press you on that. Do we need another game where just exploiting the enemy weakness is the only thing you got to worry about?
I kind of agree, but I don't even know if that's necessarily any different here. I mean, this game still incentivizes
This game,
hitting
there's
a
fights
lot.
that don't even have weaknesses.
That's true.
It's a totally different beast. You got to trust me on this.
But
It's
Persona also, like mainline Persona games also have like a lot of the boss fights you're not meant to really exploit their weaknesses either, though, to be fair.
yeah,
Like a lot of it
but
is dependent on just like matching what they use against you.
this game could. I don't want to say this for a fact, but I will say this: it could not work if you could all-out attack everything, and that was just the answer to everything. It is designed to where this boss has a weakness. You do more damage if you bring the characters that like they're assuming you do that. They're not analogous, in my opinion. Based on me playing the Korean version pretty seriously.
I do remember a fight from the Korean version that was a decent amount of fun. I think there was I don't remember if it was a Shikioji or something, but there was an enemy, I think it was in the second palace, where you'd attack it, or so you'd attack the enemy that it spawned in, and it would change weaknesses every time you attacked or something. That was actually that was like, I was like, okay, that's a pretty decent gimmick. This is decent fun. So there are moments of brilliance like that, but I feel like the overwhelming amount of encounters I'm doing don't really feel like they have that level of care.
Oh yeah, would you want to do that like 50 times?
Not necessarily, but
There you go.
This is what I
There
mean,
you go.
though. Like the combat system, maybe it does show some shine and promise. That could be something you could do with the regular P5R combat system, though. But most of the game doesn't feel like that.
Well, think about this, right? Not everyone even wants to be that sweaty, so they have to cast a wide net. The vast majority of these fights are going to be total jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure for what they're going for, this works better for maximizing player retention and people coming back and people playing the game. But it just makes me think, man, I just wish I was playing a different Atlus RPG right now.
You still can. There's 30 years worth of hard games.
That's true. I just this one could have been another one. This one could have been another one that I enjoyed.
I think that is an okay opinion to have, but with all the changes to Reload and them making P5R easy, right? Like the easiest game probably ever, really. Except for what's his name? Freaking Okumura. It's to get more people to play the brand that sometimes it's all right to throw an easy one in there.
Well, I'll say it's less excusable in those games because those games have difficulty options. I mean, they're very open to people who just want to play for the story or people who just want to. Here, at least in P5X, admittedly, there's no difficulty options, and maybe you can't have them with the way it works. So
this might the tricky thing here is like you've clearly played a couple of Atlus games, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're running this podcast,
I played every Persona game,
yeah.
And then some Mega 10 generally.
So this game was designed to be the first Persona game for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Just if it was any hard, I guarantee you people are struggling against these fights. So you're like, oh, this is a joke. They are struggling because they have no idea. They don't even know. They see Jack Frost. They're like, he could be weak to anything. I don't know.
Who fucking knows?
Electricity. It's yellow
Frost.
snow beats Jack Frost. Done. Okay, and it didn't work. And he's like, jeez. You really cannot tell who's gonna play these things.
That's true.
Throwing some trash fights, it ain't that bad.
But I mean, even from like Persona 5 Royal, it's a pretty easy game. But I still have tons of fun going back to that game and kind of optimizing a lot of things. I feel like that's a level I don't get here.
It's there. Trust me. Do the PvP. Do the Roar Nightmare. Get there.
The game has it's got PvP.
It's got Sea of the Soul. That's what I was talking about before. I'm like, I'm trying do as much damage as I can with Joker.
I thought that's
it's an esport. It's an esport, dude. I'm on that leaderboard, bro. I'm like,
okay,
like 50.
Leaderboards. Okay, when you said PvP, I thought like literally like real time.
No.
That would have been
That
awesome.
would never work. That never works in turn-based games. It never does. So that's the best they can do. right?
It's true. Yeah, sure.
It never feels good.
Totally agree. But
I-
I got this is crazy for a second. Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. That does seem more enticing, but I have a feeling that even with all that, I'd still be like, man, I still wish this was similar, either closer to P5R's combat system or just a more a combat system a little more depth, I guess. Like optimizing things, I guess, does give it a level of depth that it wouldn't have otherwise, but. There's still issues I have with the way it kind of watered down some aspects of one more, like baton pass and whatnot.
All right,
I
I'm
think
gonna
it
I'm gonna
almost
role
refer-
play as the Atlus USA or Atlus West representative. All
Well,
right.
I know what you're gonna say. I mean, I agree that the game is watered down a little bit for the new players and whatnot. But again, P5R, I think that's a fun combat system.
No.
And it fits a
Let's
similar role.
do the exercise. Let's do the
All right.
exercise. Okay.
All right,
So
I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
we're
dude.
at, we're at
interested.
E3. We're at E3.
All right.
Whatever this year is, and just real quickly, say what you don't like about P5X. Just real quick.
I feel like, okay, I love you, Atlus, okay? But the problem is
Okay. Thank you.
that I feel like P5X's combat system watered down a lot of the things from the P5 system it was based on and didn't necessarily do too many other interesting things of its own to make up for those things. I just feel like when I'm playing it, I could just be playing P5R, which has a lot more fun to it, even with a similar level of difficulty.
So you don't like the game?
No, I don't like the game. You gonna kill me now? Hold on, is that a gun? I do know they value my opinion that much. That is true.
You made him cry.
Well,
you monster.
Look, I'm
and
sorry.
scene.
I'm gonna buy more DLC. Okay, it'll be all right.
But like genuinely, like what do you want them to do? They made a spin-off of the combat system that is different. If you wanted the old combat system, just go play that.
Well, again, I'm not saying they
you're
should
trying to be like-
necessarily rehash it, but just if they were going to do different things, I don't like the different things they're doing. There are some things I can actually name some things about the combat I do prefer, but they're few and far
you
between.
just gotta get farther.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I played the first two palaces of the Korean version. I played some of the roguelike type minigame they have.
Oh, that crap sucks. freaking-
Yeah, I didn't like it very
love
much
I didn't
either,
like it.
unfortunately. And conceptually, I think it's very interesting. But
I haven't done Tartarus. I can't figure out how Tartarus works, but apparently Tartarus is better. But it's like,
I did the little
I don't-
missions in Tartarus, but I didn't do the free form one.
I did the freeform one. There are concepts of an interesting formula there. I don't know if maybe I'd have to just play it more, but based on what I played, I didn't really care for it. I don't know. Maybe it gets better.
Well, here,
Chance for playing it wrong because we don't understand the rules because we can't.
That's
effing
true.
Read.
That's true. That
That's
could be.
true.
That could
That's
be. Yeah,
completely true.
fair enough.
I'm full of devil advocates today, I guess.
Well, not much is fair. I did. We talked about it before the global had come out. We had said all of our criticisms of P5X based on the Korean version. Weight them a little bit with the fact that we can't read anything. We
We're
never even said anything about the story. Now I kind of wish I hadn't played the story, but I was like, the story could be amazing for all I know. I haven't read any of it, so now there's kind of more definitive critique coming out now that we can read it. Things about the combat I do like. One, I like seeing the turn order at all times in the top left. That's kind of nice. And then I actually like their navigator system generally.
Yeah, I think
it
it's
feels more
awesome.
involved. Yeah.
I do
The
like
new one,
that.
the new one they added, genuinely, it's like the best case scenario for a gacha game, right? She is inherently stronger than everybody else, sure, but also she brought up other characters that used to suck. Now it's like, well, hold on, they can compete now because of this cool like time warping ability. So whoever designed that, great job. I mean, that's just genuinely awesome.
That's pretty cool. I'm not in the know with the new navigator, but if that's true, I do like seeing a lot of issues with gotcha games. I would know, like I've been through the trenches. I've played a lot of Honkai Star Rail.
I haven't played
big
many
issue with those
gotchas,
games.
to be clear.
Yeah,
so
screen.
I don't
is
know
that.
as much.
Which ones have you played besides P5X?
I didn't play either of them for very long. I played the slightest bit of Azure Lane, and I thought it was terrible from what I played. But I didn't play that much. And Zenless Zone Zero, I feel similarly on. So out of the three gotcha games I played, and I didn't play the other two for very long, P5X is the best of the three, from the little experiences I had. I'll say that much.
HSR, a big issue with it is that a lot of characters from early on like lose out in relevancy. So it is nice to see like a means of counteracting that, even if it is through more gotcha. At least there's something to do to keep these old characters relevant to the inevitable power creep. That is pretty cool. That's interesting. I do like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's like, oh, power creep's bad, blah blah. Have you played a game with no power creep? It's really boring. You have no incentive to come back. I mean, just from the devs' perspective, there has to be escalation.
Yeah.
I will say though,
But,
if
you know, global passives, that's a bit too much. But
let's say
Yeah.
somebody comes in later in the game or whatever, you know, maybe after a year, the game's been out for a year or whatever,
oh, they're
and
screwed. They're screwed.
yeah, I was gonna say they gotcha for like the newest character, you know, Makoto from P3 or whatever, and this character's far above anything that you would have if you had started the game a year prior, and you just completely destroy your way through all of the combat trials the game has. I feel like that is also probably going to be something that hurts the gameplay experience more for newer players and whatnot.
I mean, you could argue that's just a catch-up mechanic, right?
I mean, I guess when the catching up is
That's true.
brainless. I mean, you know, I guess
It's not brainless. You got the tough shadow fights where you got to do their, you know, you got to do their mechanic. or
Are
you
any of
can't
those
beat
like
'em.
forced battles, or are they all optional?
They're all optional
Oh, okay. I mean,
because you know they want people to
be
you
able to
know
get through the
just
main
have
game.
yeah.
Glide, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I understand why they make the choices they do. It's just a shame because I feel like this is the problem I have with kind of the gotcha formula. It incentivizes a lot of things like this, and even to an extent, just making games to appeal to new players. To an extent, you can fall into these same traps, and it's just like I feel like there is a way you can strike a balance. Difficulty options is one way, you know. If a new player is getting to Raidou, you have all these 4 difficulty options that you can pick from if you want to just either get through the story easily or you want a little bit more of a challenge, and that's an easy way of doing it. Just P5X lacking that, at least to a player like me who's kind of played Persona up until this point. I don't feel like there's much there for me to grab onto. Maybe those, you know, harder shadow fights. Like I said, the one I played seemed somewhat interesting, but it's few and far between, unfortunately.
Oh, you got the Yusuke fight, and they are pretty consistent about adding difficult content because every patch where there's a boss fight, right? Like even Yusuke now, he has, you know, levels 1 to 25, right? And they're kind of like cakewalks. You know, he has a mechanic, but you can figure out a team, and you know it's easy peasy. But that level 30 version is, you know, the tough version, right? And there's you don't get anything for beating it other than bragging rights, but there is inherently like something to cater to like hardcore fans too.
Okay.
And that's been in since Makoto, so they're pretty consistent about that.
That does
If
feel.
they are, if the more they move towards adding more options that are actually like have a lot of more depth to them, that is pretty nice, admittedly, and that does give the game relevance in that respect. Though, it is a shame. I mean, I guess I make the point of comparing this game to Honkai Star Rail a lot because it's another turn-based RPG that is
Yeah.
a gacha game.
I mean, they did rip off Honkai Star Rail to make this game. Like, there's no.
There's a lot of similarities I've noticed as well. Yeah,
It's definitely analogous.
I do think that the best parts about Honkai Star Rail are not the main game, even though if I think the like Penacony, like at best the game story is like pretty okay. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just okay. But the real intrigue lies in that side content, like Simulated Universe. I think is a lot of fun, and that's the roguelike. And if when it gets to the global version, Tartarus, if that's as in depth as Simulated Universe, I'd probably like it even more. So there is some of these things, and when I'm making that comparison, that I'm not fully intimately aware of just yet because of the difference between versions, right? So I'm sure that the true things that you're describing that make the game worthwhile to people like us who've played a lot of Atlus games are just kind of waiting to come, or like the best is yet to come, you know? And I can probably believe that.
We don't get too excited. I mean, you know, the thing I'm talking about, it's like, all right, fight Piggytron constantly.
Hey, don't diss Piggytron. Hey,
And
don't
then you
diss
fight,
Piggytron. That's
then
my
you fight
guy.
level 30 Piggytron, who has like maybe one new mechanic, right?
Hey,
It's
I like
not, you know, it's. You gotta understand that like hardcore players that actually want to challenge themselves and use their units. I don't have any hard data to back this up, but I genuinely think that is the minority. So they're not going
absolutely.
to develop, you know, to appease that demo, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this is a product, so that let's have some footing in the Chinese market. Like that's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I guess I just wish I liked it more. I guess I just wish it didn't do all of these kind of predictable things to kind of appeal to this group of people. But this is the way it would make the most money. This is the way it would be the most successful. So I guess there's no
Clearly is
argument against
successful.
that. It's not going to make me like it, but
Yeah. Could you imagine if they didn't do these things? If they didn't have a battle pass, they didn't have stamina, dude, they'd be cooked.
Yeah, they have
It wouldn't
two.
even
I
I
la-
saw
started crying tears of joy.
they have
It wouldn't even
premium and
last
premium plus.
3. It wouldn't even last 3 months. I just, RIP. I covered this game called Tribe 9.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. The perfect
like
gotcha
Tribe
game.
9 too.
Genuinely, so beautiful, so interesting. It did everything everyone always asks for. A pretty even gender split. No stamina, no predatory, none of that. I don't even think I had a battle pass. Oh yeah, I did. It was whatever though.
did.
It was like, it was not 3 months.
What
You
you're
play
saying
ball
is,
or you don't or you just close up shop, right?
It's a shame too because like I Tribe 9 like it kind of did feel like what you're describing screen in the sense it does just feel like a single player game that has some
Sure.
gotcha elements.
and almost
Yeah.
because
It
of that, it
failed,
failed. So what you're saying
unfortunately.
is P5X is
Yeah.
right, and the masses really are
Yes.
apathetic to good
Well,
video games.
oh my
Like,
God.
No, they just you got to come at from this angle, right? When people are, on the bus, whatever, waiting for a little bit, they don't want to play something super in depth.
Yeah.
Occasionally, they want to be challenged, right? Like, oh man, the new thing's out. I gotta buckle up and think of strat. But the majority of people playing this, they just want like, oh yeah, I gotta do my dailies and then get off. That is the market.
I feel like even
'Cause
then,
Tri-
why wouldn't you want, I don't know, like some Candy Crush from the bus or something? Isn't that a little bit more intuitive?
I don't know.
I don't
know.
Maybe
It's
it's just I'm not the
doesn't-
market for a gacha game
Characters
at
aren't
all,
hot
but-
enough, I guess.
True.
But
That's a big
but
part
the-
of it, screen.
the big lesson we learned from Tribe 9 is that like mandatory hard content is a death sentence.
Yeah.
The percentage of people that beat Tribe 9's first boss was so unbelievably low. I was shocked. It was like 8% of people
Jesus.
beat that boss and progress. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's not a walk in the park, but yeah, that means the majority of people, the overwhelming majority, 82% got to see chapter 2, chapter 3, continue the story. So, I think P5, I'm just saying, devil's advocate, them having these tough, Shiki OG fights occasionally and not making the mandatory in P5X seems to be what works.
No, it's not
for this
a
demographic.
bad reason to do it. Yeah, it'll just, unfortunately, to somebody who basically wants those fights to be the majority of things, it's going to be only
Alienating.
dispersed. It's going to be like something where it's like, at this point, I just might as well just play a game that has this more consistently. But I just wish.
Yes.
I don't know if it can't be done because of the way it is, but like, is there really no way? Because the way a normal video game would do this, right? Besides maybe games like your Dark Souls, which are just like you're either getting good or you're getting the fuck out, would be like, difficulty options or different choices you can make that would make the game easier or harder. And is there really no way they could have put a system like that in P5X?
No. They can hardly balance normal mode.
Okay,
That's
maybe.
not wrong.
This is a live service game, buddy. We got tight schedules. We got a pipeline. This is main story content. Get it.
I guess.
It would be admittedly tough to. I mean, you know what the solution is? Just abolish gotcha games. I feel like that's the conclusion I'm deriving from
Yes,
this
but that's never gonna
conversation.
happen because
People like 'em.
a lot of people
People
don't
like
have
'em.
consoles too, and they're like, well, now I can
Yeah.
experience a premium cool story, and I don't have to pay anything for it because some guy in China maxed out Joker by spending $1,000, right? So
Yeah.
Although there are those
I don't
people
know.
who are like the hardcore P5X, but like they're not the bus guys. They're the guys playing it. They spend their
Yes.
life on it. They spend their life savings on it. I wonder what's the appeal? Because again, I'm just not the audience for gotchas at all. What drives you to that level where you're like, I'm spending 10K on this game and I'm playing it every fucking day. Okay.
I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy. I don't see the appeal either, but they do it. So.
I mean, I'm like a big Persona guy, and I if I spent so much as like 1 cent on this game, I think I would actually have a heart attack on the spot. Like, no joke.
The rates seem crazy too. Like you're spending $30 and you're getting breadcrumbs. Okay, like it's rough out there. It seems like.
I think it's
It's like
standard.
they toned down like a big argument I saw before the game got its global release. It was like how free to play friendly it was. It seems like they toned a lot of that down for the global release. Like a lot of it's just like
Maybe global
way
are
more
bigger spenders,
embarrassing.
We don't know actually. The current information is that what's it called? The gacha is identical to all other versions.
Mhm.
but I think a lot of people are just coming at it from a different angle. Like the game's out now, we're used to playing, in Korea. Are the rates still the same? It's a lot of like inaccurate math, I guess.
Sure,
But
but I mainly mean like the currency itself, though. Like I feel like
oh
you used to get
well,
more just for like playing the game on like Korean. Like even like when you got like
there's-
the currency for dupes, it led to more
no, it's the
uh,
same.
the currency you get from the dupes is the same, but the amount you can spend to get like you used to just be able to spend like a certain amount and get like a premium gotcha ticket.
No, I thought that was the case too. Instead, you get 100 gems, right? But it only
Yeah.
takes 10, so it's about the
Oh.
same, right?
Oh shit, is
So
it?
it's
Okay.
100 gems for what is the equivalent of 10 of the cognitive crystals, right? Of the dupe
Sure.
currency
Yeah.
versus 15 of the dupe currency for a gotcha ticket. Now, which one is better? Obviously, yeah, you have to get 2 gotcha dupes to get the equivalent of 2 tickets. Like, you see, it's just so they cut down on the amount of currencies you can get. And technically, it's better in global because you could buy a bunch of pull currency, right, for characters, but they get the character early, and it's like, oh crap, now I can't get the weapon. If they just
Yeah.
cut out the middleman and it's the gems, you're in a better spot as the
Sure.
consumer.
That's not a bad point. You're right.
Yeah, I was having a hissy fit about that too, and I'm like, wait, what? No, actually, this is better. So
I guess I misunderstood. That's on me then.
yeah,
I guess I just saw the numbers and my
no,
brain
because
got
I
a
was
little.
like, after the Subway Slammer incident, I was like, PO'd. I was like, this game is not perfect, and I started looking for every little flaw, and I'm like, oh no, well that technically is an improvement. But
That's nice at least. And I assume there are things that maybe like I know the Korean version eventually introduced a system for 2 different kind of gotcha modes you can do. One that
Yeah.
has like a guarantee. So we haven't gotten those improvements yet, but I assume they will come when they came in the Korean version when we get
Yeah,
to those updates.
that just makes sense because it's like, all right, guarantee banner when there's only one character, they're not gonna make any money, and I don't like that, but it's like, is what it
And
is.
to me, I'm not a big fan of the guaranteed stuff. I'm like, look, if I like one thing about P5X, it's the gambling, okay? And I feel like you start giving me
Really?
guaranteed, well, gambling, I'll admit, it's a disease, but it's a kind of feels nice, that disease.
I'd
And
say guarantee any day. You can just like, you can plan it out better, and it's just like,
well, no, I agree on that level it is, but I feel like if I don't have the risk, I'm losing something, I need that
Nah, I got-
50-50.
I gotta make the video. I'm just like, all right, screw it.
Fair enough. Okay, well, all that, I mean, it's pretty fair. I mean, I guess I'm not necessarily the intended audience for a game like P5X. I'm still gonna give my critiques of it. I still feel like the story, I think most people are probably pretty rightfully shitting on. Maybe for a gacha game, it's maybe in the upper echelon, but no.
No.
No, okay.
And that's another criticism is like, bro, it's a gotcha game. And it's like, dude, I'm not gonna say it because I want to keep this one to myself. But one of the most impactful, brilliant stories I've read in years is from a free-to-play mobile game.
Damn.
I'm not gonna say what it is
Oh, he's gatekeeping
because
it.
I gotta gatekeep it. I'm like, people are like, dude, it's a gotcha game. It's like, dude, the amount. Does the text on the screen matter if it's on a computer or a phone? Be completely serious. It doesn't.
I guess not.
It
Yeah,
clearly
it's
does
the
not.
same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So
It's Cookie Run Kingdom you're talking about, right? That's the one.
no,
Best game of all time.
I don't heard of it. I don't know what that is.
It's like a meme. Fucking gotcha.
I see.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's why I just wish at least if I could grab onto the story, there'd be something more to compel me. Right now, the only thing that really compels me is, I'll admit, the idea of gambling for certain Persona 5 characters, or maybe certain
like gambling.
attractive new Phantom thieves. It gets to me too. All right, I'm only human.
No, the house always wins. Say New Jima's Palace. No.
They're not making me spend a fucking dime on it though. Okay. Hopefully not. Anyways, I don't think I'm gonna sink to that level. Especially because I
they
want to
brought me
really support this game.
They brought me back pretty hard, like playing the game like actively when they did the P3 collab stuff because I really love P3.
Mhm.
So admittedly, I'm part of the problem by giving them my
I
time,
imagine we'll
but-
probably get P4 characters too around the P4R stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I
Oh,
assume,
yeah.
Johnny, you saw that P4R trailer, I imagine.
Yes.
What did you think of that that trailer we got?
I gotta take my family on a vacation. Yay! When that game
Okay.
comes out.
Well,
So
I don't
I
think
like it.
I don't think we have a solid release date on it yet.
It's John 27. They already said.
Wait, we have, wait, when is it?
Yeah. The release window is 2027.
Oh, the window for it. Yeah, it's the fiscal year. I think it's fiscal year 2027, which if the way it was explained to me, I think that means April 2026 to March 2027 if I'm getting that right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of have a window of it, which is nice. How did you feel about the actual trailer we got and the substance
It was
of
horrible.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty
Duh.
nothing. They didn't give us a whole lot to bite our teeth to chew into. I know I get it's a remake, but
They're overworked,
jeez.
underpaid, and they're sick of it. So, whatever we get is fine. But yeah, everyone's like tearing in the graphics, and it's like, okay, but obviously like it has more dynamic like shadows, funny enough, than
I thought it looked
P3. So that's gonna be sick. If they can actually pull that off. And if they add dungeons, literally everyone complaining, we'll have nothing to stand on. So
they'll find something. But I do think that visually I don't I as much as I don't like the trailer because it doesn't show anything of what they did show, I thought it was visually very impressive. If anything,
yeah,
like, it seems
it's a
to be
big
like
big step
yeah,
up.
yeah. I was gonna say like it feels like the first like actual like true next gen thing from Atlus just based on what we saw. Like the lighting seemed really impressive.
I did feel that Narukami animation felt a little weird.
That was
Maybe it's
rough.
just because how little we saw of it, but
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it looked a little
Yeah,
odd.
yeah.
I'm hoping this is all because it's just so incredibly early that they have nothing to show. Though
Oh, of course.
I don't know why, even of the little bit they have to show, unless they have so little they couldn't even do this. The aesthetic they showed was kind of the summer day, Inaba thing, but I feel like that's not the aesthetic people immediately associate with P4. I feel like it's more the kind of foggy, nighttime kind of creepier aesthetic of P4 that people typically look for. So the fact that none of that was shown felt like a weird choice to
Well,
me.
that's gonna be an awesome way to get you excited for the game. Hey, death! Everyone's gonna die. The
Hey,
fog's
well,
gonna kill us all.
We could have had a trailer. Ding, 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 ding. They play that song. We see a little bit of fog. Something there. We kind of saw
to
like
be
a
honest,
figure on the TV, but
That ain't gonna put
even
butts
if
in
I didn't like the
seats.
you
trailer.
don't think so?
No.
I didn't like the trailer. I do think it was trying to lean into that like nostalgia aspect of like, whoa, you're gonna have
Yes.
P4 remake. Like it's
This is your-
sunny,
th-
it's bright, it's like Inaba just like you remembered it, except different.
Exactly,
Like, I think that's really
nostalgia.
something. Yeah, that's a big part of it. And like the song choice too. They didn't. People were saying they don't have remix tracks yet. I guarantee you they have remix music at least somewhere.
Course.
Oh, probably. Yeah,
But
I
they
imagine.
played the original tracks because it's nostalgia. They're trying to.
They're
hone
like,
in on
oh man, no one liked P3 Reloads OST. And it's not like it's going down as the most popular song we've ever made. Ah.
It's actually, John. Donnie, I have a good question for you. Do you like Reload soundtrack compared to the original?
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, some songs are misses, but like overall, it's a big improvement because I'm not listening to the same songs I'm listening to half my life. So
Uh, Yeah, I'm a little critical of a lot of the remixes, but the new tracks, I was pretty much positive on, I think, all of them. I think the new tracks are definitely the highlight of the OST, right? It's going down now, especially Color Your Night, I thought was really strong.
I like
So,
Don't.
Don't
from,
Disconnected, I
The
really
Answer.
like
That
too.
was really strong. I was
Yeah.
like, well, this is just they don't need Meguro. Frig, they're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I think Don't was Kazuka, right? The composer?
Yes.
I don't have to remember.
I'm a big
Well, apparently
Kazuka
they-
guy, so not surprised I like those tracks so much. But and the main OST was Kid Joe.
Yeah, I loves Kid Joe. Screen's a big fan of that Kid Joe character.
Well,
He's a big fan.
I'm
He
a little
loves him.
critical sometimes. I like Color Your Night. That song's great. It's going down now. It's pretty good. I just sometimes when it came to remixing the original tracks, okay, songs like Memories of the City and whatnot, some of his mixing,
It's
okay,
good.
or the
It's good in
instruments,
Reload.
I think it's
It's good in
I think it's
Reload.
significantly worse, I would say, but it is what it is.
I'm not gonna get into this
You-
right now, Screen, but you're too harsh.
You'd have to find someone with no prior knowledge that it's even a remix to get like a truly unbiased opinion, which is never gonna be any of us.
Sure, yeah. I don't think it's a bad song to be clear, and it's still fine, but I just think compared to the original, it doesn't invoke the same emotion, and made probably because of the way it's mixed and the instrumentation, or sorry, not, or the instruments actually used, like the guitar, I feel feels weaker and whatnot, but it is what it is. Kid Joe is just a very different style from Meguro, and I think when trying to capture the same magic that Meguro could, it's hard. But when he does his original songs, I think he does very well. So there's that at least. We'll see how he does on P4. Maybe I'll be more positive on that one. Who knows?
Johnny, what's your favorite? Let's get into some questions, okay? What's your favorite?
Okay.
What's your favorite Persona opening? Would you have to say?
Mm, probably 3. Or no, you're talking like the opening like story or like the actual opening like
No, the actual
movie.
movie. The
Oh,
movie that you
P4
said.
Vanilla. I think it's the best one they've
Oh,
ever
it's
made.
a pretty great one.
Hey, I love Pursuing Met Yourself. I'm a big fan of that.
Because there's you don't really notice it, but everybody, when they show off all the party members and stuff, everybody's seen through a different lens of a camera, right? Some of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kanji's a TV camera, Chie's friggin' like security camera in the elevator or whatever, friggin' desktop. And
So you
this
perceived,
looks,
right? I really like that a lot.
yeah.
What about your Oh, this is a tough question because I don't think I'd be able to answer this. Out of every single game, what character would you say you're like the biggest fan of, Johnny?
Rise Kujikawa.
Really?
It's just me. It's just my
Damn.
life.
Okay.
Okay.
The way us YouTubers are sexualized is ridiculous. I'm not a hunk of meat you can stare at. It's just sickening. I'll upload a YouTube short, and he's like, "Can you record the next one naked?" And he's like, "How do you think that's acceptable?" So you're laughing when I'm serious. This is effed up. It's bad.
Wait.
Yeah.
No one takes me seriously. It sucks. Oh well.
Well,
What are
it
you gonna
is,
do?
it is what it is. But yeah, I agree. Like it's a good story, and it kind of it fits into this yeah, I mean, like you said, like this kind of sexualization
Yeah.
or idolization of celebrities to a degree that's pretty.
Well, that's part of it, but also it's like, I don't know. It just really opened my eyes, like to Juno kind of hits a lot of the same notes, and it makes me upset when people say she sucks. But it's just like when you really have the soul of an entertainer and you want to be the best and just put a smile on people's faces, it's do or die, basically.
Yeah.
So when she's like mad at kind of mean, it's like, frig, dude, I've been there before. You watch JohneAwesome? Insert other Let's Player here is way better, and I'm like, oh, and once you put everything you got into these videos, right, it's easy to get jealous and maybe take playing video games on the internet a little too seriously. But you can say the same thing about Rise, right? It's like, oh, it's just singing and dancing. It's like it's not just singing and dancing, dude.
So much deeper.
What that one dude saying freaking metaphor, he's like, she's just a singer. It's like, buddy, you don't understand the half of it. But yeah, that's my answer. Juna, Rise, same effing character, to be honest with you. I need to eat some chicken. Is this done yet?
My answer feels,
We'll
boring
get
now.
close to wrapping up soon. I think we got like.
I got 15 minutes. Okay. I'm getting paid for this, right?
We'll see. Okay.
Yeah. You take coupons.
I got a roll for
take,
I got a roll for Bouet. She's coming out soon. P5X. I'm trolling. That character sucks. Anyway. Just didn't work.
What?
Well, I like Maruki because I'm boring. I feel
Okay,
so much.
fair
My answer
enough.
feels so much less informed now.
I've had like 15 years to meditate on this, I guess. So it's an easy answer.
Oh, actually, where do you? Oh, because this guy is in
Where do you
Maruki
meditate
Defender.
at the temple, bro.
Oh, okay, well. This guy's a big Maruki defender, okay? He will
no.
argue why
Okay.
his reality is okay.
Wait, that's so dumb.
Okay, there we go.
This with you, Johnny. I will get into this with you.
Here we go.
I will die on this hill.
We got 10
Bro,
minutes.
what's your
Can't make it good.
Wait, what's your name?
I mean, I go by competency online, but I have a
Okay,
real name,
Incompetency
too.
Online. Marky's like, that's not your username anymore. You're Tiddlywink McFarts, and this is your life. And you're like,
True. Holy
well, he knows
true.
best. And he's like, instead of talking about SMT, you will review VHSs and do mukbangs of food of shrimp, nothing but shrimp every day. And you're like, yes, Marky, I will do exactly as you command.
Thank
You're all encompassing.
Thank you,
I
Lord
think
Maruki.
it's a.
Now I'm no
I
longer
think
suffering.
it's a. I think I could accept that if it meant like the kind of I would review those VSS tapes, Johnny. I'd be the best at it. You know
You'd
what?
be like,
I'd be happy.
Care Bear, mint, $14 on my
I
eBay.
would do the greatest mukbangs in human history. Okay, I would be so happy. It would be a worthwhile sacrifice. I will die on that hill, Johnny. I will.
That's so dumb. What the frick? Fair enough.
I mean, I really resonate with I don't know. I think as a law like I think it can view him under the lens of like an SMT like law rep, and I think it's handled really
Yeah.
well. And I just can.
Oh, 100%.
I think he's probably the best LOL rep too. Like, which is
Oh
odd
yeah,
that he's in a
easily.
Persona game.
Oh, I'm not saying he's a bad villain at all,
Oh, no,
but
no,
it's
I know,
just
I'm just
like,
getting to that
would
one,
you?
that's
It's like the people are like Maruki did nothing wrong, and it's like, well, what if you disagree with him? Did you happen to see the ending where you know? And there you go.
I mean, it's a pretty hard thing to defend against. I feel like a lot of the benefits from his reality though, like outweigh like, I mean, I don't know, like, I mean, I have to admit, like, no war, that's pretty appealing, to be honest. Like things like that, like I feel like even obviously the ideal would be if those things were achieved through a natural way that doesn't, you know,
I
come
think
with
it
the
could
caveats
happen.
of huh?
I think it could happen. We don't need Maruki for that. It'll happen like 1,000 years.
It,
Think
it
so?
probably could. It'd be nice. Maybe like 10,000 years. I could see it happening though, for sure.
No, there's no what. You think aliens won't be like, guys, what are you doing? Communism, freaking. You don't need that. What's the other one? What's the other one? Freaking.
What
Like
do you mean? Like
capitalism.
Capitalism. You don't need that. We got this other third thing that's way effing better, and we're like, dude, thank you, big brother aliens. We didn't know this existed. You're the best. He's like, you guys still use electricity? Forget about it, dude. We got this thing. It's way better. Easy.
Well,
There you go.
yeah, I mean, look, there are benefits to Marcus reality, obviously, and I think there are maybe some people. If you were to take an example of somebody, you know, in a very war-torn country, and maybe their life is basically by no fault of their own going to be fucked, you could see how Marky's reality could maybe improve them when there's very few benefits. But the problem is, one, Marky's reality is kind of all-encompassing, and it's hard to make even those judgment calls on who you would even affect in that case. But also, like, it takes away so much from the human experience. It's like, even if we do remove things like war or remove these, you know, pretty bad things,
Famine.
we are losing the things that make life great to an extent as well, right? Like, so it's, and especially
there's no competition. There's no games. There's pretty much no art anymore, right?
I mean, yeah, in fact,
There's
or
no strife.
there's no struggle. So none of these things are based on that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
And also,
well, fuck.
Maruki meets a guy from, like, you know, Wisconsin. He can't communicate with him. He's like, I don't even know who you are, bro. I don't know what type of life to give you. So he's just gonna be some like baker or something. He's gonna be screwed. Like, what's he gonna do?
And then issues also arise from him
Wisconsin
being
can go. I'll be fine without Wisconsin.
His
being happy,
persona
okay?
doesn't let him understand English. I know this for a fact.
Damn.
Maruki sucks. Moving on.
Well, hold on. It can understand. Hold on. I can say sorry. It understands feelings, though. Mementos is connected to everyone's cognition.
Frick, he's got me. Dang it.
You can make that argument, Johnny. Wisconsin is included. Tough shit, pal.
Okay. Oh yeah. What's Wisconsin's version of memento? Some giant piece of cheese with a bunch of holes in it. You go.
I live in California, man. Half the things people make up about the Midwest doesn't sound real to me. I have no idea.
Oh, I've been there. It's real.
You're lying. I don't trust you.
I have. I went to Nebraska and there's tons of corn. I was like, wow. I thought that was just like, you know, made up. It's true.
See, if it was Maruki was there, they would do something more interesting than corn.
Really?
No, they've still been playing football. They were like, Maruki, no, this is what we want.
How would the corn even be made? You have to suffer to grow corn, motherfucker. What do you do now?
Yeah, I don't know.
No more corn.
No more corn?
No more corn. That's a sacrifice I'm willing
There's
to
a
make.
corn magically. I don't even know. Who knows? Marky's reality is full of
No,
contradiction.
you
Who knows?
definitely have to put seeds in the ground. Yeah, just, you know, on paper it seems like, oh, well, it's working out for Tokyo, but like, you know.
Well, I have a question. Would you be okay with Maruki's reality if it wasn't all encompassing? If it only
No,
impacted
F
like the smallest?
Maruki.
Damn.
Winning is my life. All I do is win. If others can't lose, then I can't win. Maruki's reality is diametrically opposed to mine. That's life. So, no, I can never see his way. And I'm like, well, you could eventually lose, JohneAwesome. That is true.
But you
But I
have to
wanna
be.
be
You
on
gotta be better, right? You gotta be.
Exactly.
You gotta be the guy who's like, how am I inferior to you? I was very particular about my life, my grades, my public image, right?
The frick? She says this.
That's the catchy quote.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of.
You can hear that, by the way. I'm
Do you
sorry.
like a catchy, Johnny? Do you like a
No.
catchy guy?
No.
Really?
It's the worst
Damn.
part of Persona 5.
Whoa! What the
Whoa,
fuck?
wait, but a catchy's like the embodiment of everything against Maruki. I'm surprised you don't like him.
The,
He's, like,
the
really
character
against
that
him.
was so good, they remade him twice. Ooh. But no, he's just... I don't know. I think the kind of... I don't know. They technically made Akechi 3 times, and the third time I think they did the best at it. It's Luis. So like, there you go.
Oh, I mean, I do like Luis. I think Akechi and Luis
Debate
have a good bit.
me. I'm just kidding. But no, it's just like, I had a tough life. I'm gonna make sure that others don't, right? And I think I would have been more sympathetic to Akechi's character if he even just threw in a throwaway line of like, I was a thrown away child. This society, I must burn it to the ground so something like it can never happen again. And be like, oh, dope. But he's just like, I have to betray my father. And that's like, that's stupid.
Well,
Like, you
I
have
mean,
this insane power. You could do anything.
He does touch on being kind of a bastard child, and like
Whoa.
What? That's a term. No, he says that. I think he says those words.
He
word
says
for
it
word.
in a way weirder way.
I think he says those words directly, doesn't he?
No,
I don't remember. I
It's
remember him
like
being,
I
he
was
said
an unwanted
unwanted or something.
child.
Something
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
Oh, something
But it's like, I mean, that's basically like but that's what he means, to be clear.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like,
just an idea.
the son
maybe
of,
I'll judge him too harshly.
the son of Shido, and kind of his mom was kind of fucked over
yeah, no,
by
I'm just
him.
messing with you.
Okay.
But it's just not. It's too. For the length of time that Black Mask is a threat. Like, it's just betraying Shido is just it borders on petty. It's very low scope.
I like the
whole
aspect
idea
of
is
him that he's
blinded
able
by
to
that, like that hatred. Like, it's supposed to be.
Well, also,
stupid and
the
childish.
part of Akechi I think draws me the most to him is that he's kind of manipulated by this attention and this desperate. Like, even when the public turns on him, you can see Akechi kind of starting to grow saddened when he shows up at LeBlanc and whatnot. Like, there is this want for what's the fucking word?
Connection.
Acknowledgement, or things like that. That's what a lot of his characters are based around. I think that aspect draws me to him. I'll admit though, without the royal content, he wouldn't be a character I would like as much. It's definitely the stuff in the Monarchy Palace as well that I think elevates him.
I think just by the time you get to that point, though, it's like, yeah, you kind of know him, but like so much of his character, well, both the royal characters, I know they're unanimously loved. I'm gonna go against the grain here, but like so much of their characterization is spent on the facade, and then when you look beneath the mask, it's like, well, I don't really, everyone else, they've just been straightforward, right? They can't really compare in my eyes. Like, obviously, like, they're integral to the story to understand Maruki's like character and all that crap, but like, man, I just don't give a crud, bro. Yusuke's hungry.
True. Yusuke is also a goat.
Yusuke is
so,
very cool. I like Yusuke.
But yeah, by the time you get those characters, it's like, okay, so you lied to me.
Well, like, Akechi is my favorite Persona character, but we don't have time to litigate all this. So instead, I'm gonna say let's get close to wrapping up. Okay, thank you, Johnny, for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you. Yes, very nice having you.
I don't imagine you have to plug yourself on our podcast, but if you want to, you can tell them where you can be found.
If there's a chance you've never heard of me, baby, I'm working on a big fat Persona retrospective, and it is a vehicle for fart and poop jokes. It is. Okay. People are like, oh, it's gonna be, JohneAwesome's gonna have some real insight on the first Persona. No, it is. I just have jokes, and there's only one video can put them in, and it's that one, baby. But yeah, it's it'll be went outside. I gotta move though, so people are gonna be like, "Where's the video?" Anyway, I gotta go. Bye.
Okay.
That'll be great, man.
Typically, we end the podcast.
Were you listening to music this entire time, Screen?
Me? What? How'd you know? Yeah.
It says you're listening to peculiar work.
Well, I like having music in the
You're not
background.
listening to your guests?
I'm listening. How am I responding? I'm not guessing at random. You know what? That's it. I'm cutting to the intro. This podcast is over.
Feeling more pressure but appears in the media. Better stop treating me small or media. I'm extra large, baby, taking premium. Bound that tongue, you believe in me. Yeah, I'ma lay it down, grabbing that crown. Lay them dollars on the ground, gonna double up now. 65, 4, 3, 2, one more time. Heavy punchline about to prove it. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. Clear your heads now, watch 'em pick. Let me go and prove my worth, let me earn it. Gonna pass this test and get me a permit. Watch how I do, sit down, observe it. Fires in my soul, uncontrollable burn. Look at me then, look at me now. Correct your bones to rule the cool, make you bow they're going to see. Blow kiss goodbye while they scream and shriek.